What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, coming through once again with another live A-Plus Morphinominal for you guys today. Your home for your Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Tokusatsu, review and news here each and every week, guys, especially Power Rangers most specifically. Thank you guys for certainly joining us today. It's always great to certainly have you guys here every Saturday afternoon with us. We got a stacked show. We got about 6 topics that we're going to get into, some deep topics too, I feel like, for the most part. So we might be here for a little bit getting into all the breakdown of some of the hottest news and articles that wind up dropping this week, to go ahead and get you guys all caught up in regards to what's going on in the world of Ranger Nation, along with Tokusatsu, guys. So thank you very much. It's Saturday here in Fort Worth, Texas. Beautiful day outside so far. In fact, I might actually open up the blinds a little bit more. Get some sunshine up in here, man. Get some sunshine going, representing Izzy Garcia, Go Green, Dino Fury Ranger. Really waiting for these new episodes to certainly drop. Keeping my fingers crossed as to when they certainly come. But guys, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you have your coffee like I certainly do. Kick back, relax, and let's go ahead and kick off this weekend right, shall we? Let's see here who we got. If you guys are wondering, I did tape off this back wall here, if you will. I think painting might commence this weekend. There are a couple of other elements that I really want to be able to put onto that back wall that I'm still trying to implement. Sometimes you have that image in your head of what you want it to look like, and it's all about execution at this particular point in time. So I think, if anything, the base color will certainly be dropping hopefully this weekend. We'll see. I got a busy schedule ahead of me. Ultraman Trigger review later on this evening for you guys, so definitely look out for that. And then tomorrow, of course, every Sunday live at noon Central Time on our other YouTube page, A+ Hero Report. We're going to be going live also as well. But let's see who's in our live chat today. Let's see what we got. Some people joining us rather early here today, probably hyped for all the stuff we're going to be talking about today. We got, is this a newcomer? The Movie Writer 2005. Thank you very much, Movie Writer. Good to see you in here. We got Johnny Marrero in the house. Thank you very much for certainly coming through, man. Power Rangers Legacy, as always, it's morphin' time, sir. We got Koala in the house also. Frankie certainly coming through. Sunny Shields. It's a sunny day out here in Fort Worth, man. So great to have you around, Sunny. We got AJ in the house, as always, certainly coming through. Adam Perea, almost my twin. Sarav certainly in the house as well. We got Doomsday in here as also. Let's see here. We got Brian. Thank you very much, Brian Lee, for certainly making your appearance here this week. Who else we got in here? I haven't announced yet. Isaiah's in the house. Thank you very much, Isaiah, for coming through. And then we got our production twins here, Edward Sanchez Productions and Shadow Nova Productions in the house, guys. So thank you very much. Always great to see some familiar faces and new faces around here. I love anytime we get the opportunity to see our channel growing, or at least having some sort of impact on others as they come through. Blossom making it in here on time. Datilla also. Thank you very much, guys. Listen, if you're in the live chat, if you continue to come here on a weekly basis, if you love what we provide, hit that like button, guys. It definitely does go a long way. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us. Let me go ahead and take down this real quick here. So yeah, we got 6 topics that we're going to get into for you guys today. Listen, Hasbro wind up congratulating Toei this week. We're going to be talking about that. Simon Bennett posted something over his Instagram as well. We're going to be taking a deep dive into that as well. Legends of the White Dragon is certainly upon us. We wind up getting some casting news, guys, and then of course we're going to dive into Tokusatsu towards the end of the show as we kick off the Tokusatsu stuff with some Kamen Rider Revice talk, details, and maybe some casting announcements that have caused certainly some controversy. You know how we do around here at A+ Morphinominal. We're always going to give you our honest opinion, and we're definitely going to give it to you guys today. Okay, let's see. Anybody else wind up joining us? All right. Well, if anything, let's dive into some of our stories. Oh, before we do, if you guys have any live viewer questions, feel free to submit them over at any particular point in time. It doesn't necessarily have to be today. It could be anytime during the week if you want to. aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. Because we hit so many people in the live chat, there's sometimes I miss comments and questions and things like that. But if you do have a question, feel free to submit it over and we'll get to it towards the end of this episode. All right, guys. with that out of the way, quick shout out to Emmanuel for certainly coming through. Hasbro's known for toys, but is really wanting homeless customers. Yeah, toy collecting can be expensive hobby, to certainly say the least. While I don't collect toys, I collect comic books. Certainly expensive. Hasbro keeps pushing that price volume up, I'm assuming, for some of the toys. I heard some people complaining about the what is it, the pig from Mighty Morphin. I think it's like a combination of the pig and the toy, like the lunchbox or something like that, and people were out like pissed off about how expensive it was. Listen, if it's that expensive and some people don't feel it's worth it, don't buy it. It'll send a direct message to Hasbro in the sense of like, maybe you guys are trying to rape us for our wallets. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, if you have a problem with how much it costs, don't purchase it, and Hasbro will certainly get the picture. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and kick off in the world of Power Rangers here, as this week we wind up getting some of the fandom in a little bit of a tizzy, honestly. There was, in fact, a report or an article over in Variety this week that kind of hinted, or I don't want to say hinted, but in the Variety article, it was in fact a bunch of different companies that have worked with Toei in the past that were sending out congratulatory messages, if you will, to Toei for celebrating its 70th anniversary. 70 years, guys. That's like almost double my age for some people, right? I feel like it's an unimaginable feat for most production companies to stick around as long as they have, and to be able to continue to dish out great content year after year. But this week, we wind up getting a Twitter post. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. That actually announced this to us. Let me make sure I'm pulling up the right one. Here we go. This comes to us from Q-Day Express. Breaking: Hasbro, Paramount, Saban, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Daiwan Media, Warner Brothers, and Sato Company celebrated the 70th anniversary at Variety Magazine, currently U.S. edition. This issue also has a special interview by Mark Schilling about Toei's legacy. I was kind of hoping that the Twitter handle here was going to drop scans from this special interview, but I wasn't able to find it in order to be able to read it. But to say the least, look, I mean, this thing got 227 likes, 10 quoted retweets, and almost 100 tweets, to certainly say the least. So fans were certainly thrilled to see this, disappointed to see this. When you bring this up, let me go ahead and pull up the banner here. This is what Hasbro and Power Rangers wind up posting in the Variety magazine itself. Hasbro and Power Rangers congratulate Toei Company on their 70th anniversary. We wish you continued success, and thank you for your partnership. And listen, there have been plenty of people out there that have taken this particular poster itself, that tweet that we just showed you, and they've retweeted it with some of their particular thoughts, right? Some people claiming, listen, this just proves, guys, that Hasbro and Toei are still working together. The partnership continues, right? That's what half of the fandom is saying. The other half is saying, look, if you look at the wording, thank you for your partnership. That usually means farewell. We appreciate all the opportunities you've helped us with, but we're now departing, right? So you got one half that thinks this means Hasbro and Toei are in fact still together. There's another half that certainly still thinks that Hasbro and Toei have officially split. Listen, guys, if you want my honest opinion in regards to this, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. When I look at this article, first off, this tweet, and the fact alone that it's not just Hasbro, that it's Saban, that is Paramount. Oh, let me also pull up the Saban one too, because I thought the Saban one was interesting. Congratulations to Toei Company on 70 years of success, led by the Power Rangers. I love that Saban got to put that little jab in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I created Power Rangers from the success of, from Toei Super Sentai. I mean, granted, listen, Power Rangers did launch off a 28-year franchise, to certainly say the least. So there is some truth in this, but it just feels like when it comes from Saban, it's more like a boasting than congratulatory, but maybe that's just me when I read it. But Saban, along with Hasbro did at least go ahead and give them congratulations. So for me, guys, when I read this or when I see this, I'm kind of I don't see it either way. Like I kind of just see this as what it's meant to be. In a sense of just congratulatory. I don't necessarily think that this one poster is a definitive answer into the partnership is done or it's still collaborating, right? And I think for me, why I don't see anything outside of like as a huge news break or anything like that out of this is because of the fact that there were other companies that also did congratulatory messages. I mean, Paramount Pictures, a huge US company here. Congratulations, Toei, on your 70th anniversary and wishing you continued growth and success. We even had Funimation along with Muse Communications. They say, congrats on 70 years, Toei Animation. Here's to many more years of partnership from your friends at Funimation, which we definitely know Toei and them are going to be working closely together. They have a Kamen Rider animated series that's going to be dropping also. But then we also get Warner Brothers that comes in and celebrates Toei's 70th anniversary. What does it say? It's so damn tiny. It is a great honor to show our appreciation in celebration of this impressive milestone. Working with all of you has been a pleasure, and we look forward to continued successful collaborations. So I think when I look at all these guys, Toei, Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, Sato, Funimation, everybody kind of giving Toei congratulatory messages. I feel like that's just pretty much what it is, and I'm not really going to be reading too much more into it than that. I mean, listen, all the other messages, like if you want to get deep and dirty with it, all the other messages, wish you continued growth and success, right? Kind of giving them well wishes. We wish you continued success. Okay, that feels pretty on par with what they were saying, right? Warner Brothers talks about the idea of continued partners and future successful collaborations, if you will, right? Many more years of partnership, kind of really emphasizing the idea that they're fully working together, that they have future things in mind. Thank you for your partnership. That kind of feels like very tightrope, you know what I mean? Kind of walking both lines a little bit. So it could be, it could have easily have been worded differently, right? If they really wanted to pursue the idea that our partnership is to continue. We wish you continued success and thank you for our future partnership or our future collaborations or something like that, right? But again, anybody can look at this as a positive or negative. I'm personally not leaning towards anywhere, despite the fact that I just look at this as, yeah, we're just congratulating them. I mean, Toei, the idea of Toei being around for 70 years is a huge accomplishment. I mean, the idea that we've got not only Super Sentai that's celebrating its 45th anniversary, Kamen Rider that's celebrating its 50th anniversary already. There's a lot to certainly congratulate Toei for. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Hasbro coming out congratulating them. The fact that so many other studios congratulated them also, I think it is what it's supposed to be. Just a congratulatory message. I don't think this necessarily sways the conversation from one way or another. It's really just up to you how you decide to certainly look at this. If you want to look at this as a positive side of things or a negative side of things, but to say that this is a confirmation, absolutely not. This is not a confirmation of anything, guys. And if anybody tells you that this is a confirmation, I don't know what they're reading. We're clearly reading two completely different things. I don't see this as a confirmation that there's a split, and I don't see this as a confirmation that they're future working together at all. What I do see this as a confirmation of is congratulations, Toei, for being around for 70 plus freaking years and still having an impact on the community in some way or another. So Toei definitely deserves all the congratulatory messages that it definitely gets. it does fascinate me that they've been around 70 years, and they're now just trying to kind of break into the international market. I don't want to say just now, because they certainly clearly tried with Power Rangers, with Masked Rider and things like that, to some things of success and failure, unfortunately. So with them now trying to make another further push into the more international markets, I think this was a great idea for Variety to go ahead and have all these posts from different studios and Hasbro and things like that to showcase exactly what Toei has certainly meant, not only to Power Rangers, but I think just the industry as a whole. So again, if this was just sort of Hasbro and Saban putting this out, maybe I would read a little bit more into it than what it is. But again, the fact that literally a huge studio like Paramount, a huge studio like Warner Brothers, Funimation, Sato, and things like that come out and also give congratulatory messages, I'm not going to read too much into it, guys. So you take that how you will. But this is not a confirmation of anything. I can tell you that much right now. If anything, if you want to read into it more, feel free to. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over this, and I'm not going to throw this in people's faces. Is this to see? This is clear, because you could honestly read the wording any way that you absolutely want to. So you guys do with that if you will. I personally will be waiting for more concrete evidence, and it could just be a thing of, listen, we go back to the Illuminati article from like 2 years ago, a year ago. It's been a minute since that article wind up dropping, right? One of the things that we've continued to say, well, I personally am leaning towards the idea of Hasbro and Toei maybe not having that partnership anymore. That's just my own speculation. That's just my own set of beliefs. You guys can certainly believe whatever you certainly want to. But it is one of those things where it's like, look, I don't think Hasbro and Toei have a bad relationship. I don't think that they like curse each other out and throw shit at each other and like don't want to work with each other anymore. If anything, it might just be a creative decision that Hasbro makes to either go off on their own. Who knows? Maybe there is a continued partnership with Toei, but they just decide not to use Super Sentai footage anymore. But maybe they have deals in place or connections with Super Sentai and Toei that still work in other aspects outside of necessarily providing Super Sentai footage for us when it comes to Power Rangers. I mean, make no mistake, when it comes to Jonathan Entwistle stuff, I do think that's going to be 100% original. Now, whether or not the non-kids, or I should say, now whether or not the kids stuff still tends to be Super Sentai footage, who knows, guys? It's certainly still up in the air to certainly be decided. But I still am leaning, again, this is just me, still leaning towards the idea of Hasbro and Toei not necessarily collaborating the way that they used to. And I think that's just based off of the idea of original content is super important, especially when you have ownership of something and you want to kind of make it your own. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Hasbro wanting to do that. And I don't also think that means that Toei and Hasbro have a bad relationship. They could have the best relationship in the world, but still maybe not necessarily use Super Sentai footage, but maybe have a partnership in other realms or working together in other means, right? So it really is up in the air, guys, as to what you personally want to believe. But again, I'm just going based off of my own thing. But when I look at this does not tell me one way or another. If anything, this strengthens the arguments for both sides. You know what I mean? So we find ourselves still kind of at a standstill when it comes to the fandom. Whether or not this is going to be an official announcement that Hasbro makes, or, maybe Hasbro just unleashes a plethora of brand new content that they're coming out with and just don't even mention anything about Toei or the usage of Super Sentai footage, right? And then as we get closer and we see teaser trailers and more information, maybe that's how we'll eventually realize, maybe they really aren't working in that realm together in regards to footage. So whether or not we get a confirmation from Hasbro, who knows in the future. But again, this is not a confirmation. If anything, this strengthens both sides of the argument. And I feel like this should just be looked at for what it is. Congratulatory message. You know what I mean? congratulatory. Again, if it was just Hasbro, maybe I would read into it. But the fact that we had a bunch of other big name studios giving out congratulatory, I'm personally not going to read into it anymore. If you guys certainly want to, that's more than fine. The wording is odd. But again, I just think it's just based off of how you want to kind of look at it. So pick through what you will, guys. But I definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts. But yeah, let me go ahead and jump into the live chat and see what some of you guys are saying in regards to this. Doomsday says, I can't believe Toei's been around for 70 flipping years. Like, what? Yeah, our parents were around when Hasbro, when Toei kicked this off. Shout out to Tony Robinson, certainly coming through. Thank you very much. Here's 2 points of the argument already. Brian Lee, he says, I hope Hasbro and Toei don't split. And we got Koala says, I hope Hasbro does split with Toei. Again, it just shows you 2 sides of the fandom. Nothing wrong with both sides. Again, we should not be enemies, guys. You know what I mean? Like, the fandom shouldn't divide itself to just be enemies and argue about this all the time. We clearly, both sides of the argument, clearly both love and appreciate Power Rangers, but maybe just have different visions for where they certainly want Power Rangers to go. And if you want Power Rangers to go one way, that's great. If you want it to go another way, that's also great. But I love the fact that it literally showcases you both sides of the argument here, right? The idea that there are clearly fans on both sides. Jordan's in the house. What's up, Jordan? Appreciate you certainly coming through today. The A Games 10 is in here. What's up, man? Thank you very much for stopping by. Let's see here. So Rob says the partnership will not be dissolved. The terms can certainly be modified. Yeah, absolutely. There certainly could be other ways that Toei and Hasbro certainly still work together, maybe without the concept and idea of utilizing Super Sentai footage, right? I mean, think about it. We Dino Fury is like 94, like 89% or 90% original footage half the time. We barely miss or even notice Super Sentai footage when it comes to Dino Fury these days. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they want to go ahead and maybe stop using footage and create content of their own. But again, that doesn't mean that the relationship between Hasbro and Toei is bad at all. Blossom giving out shout out happy anniversary Toei. Yes, congratulate them for sure. I mean, they've been around forever, man. The fact that they've been able to launch so many seasons of Kamen Rider, and not just that, but they, I know we focus on tokusatsu around here, but Toei does incredible other things as well, as we can clearly see from Paramount, Warner Brothers, and things like that, all coming out to praise them. AJ says, I hope they split. I don't like the choices Toei has been doing lately for Super Sentai, like Zenkaiger, but you can argue Hasbro can do original footage for new suits and pilots, just cut out stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, when it comes to adaptations, Hasbro clearly can adapt however they certainly want to. They don't necessarily need to take the storylines and all the elements from Super Sentai and still make it work here in the States. Doomsday says, dang, everyone are congratulating Toei on 70 years. Yeah, just even non-Power Ranger companies for sure. And again, I think that's another reason why I look into it maybe a little bit differently, is the fact that if it was just Hasbro making this message, I might look at it a little bit differently. But the fact that it is, in fact, just other companies too, I feel like it's being presented to us as it's meant to be, as just congratulatory. The A Games 10 says, update to Nick's Dino Fury reruns. The Sunday reruns are leading to Saturday, August 28th for Fall Day. Kind of strange to me that they are Sunday reruns instead of maybe Saturday reruns. Thoughts, Adam? I mean, as long as it matches up, like as long as it, like if it's going to lead into August 28th and then drop that Saturday or whatever the case may be, I would be okay with that. I don't mind them having reruns falling on a completely different date. Izzy, what's up, Izzy? Appreciate you coming through. She said, "Good afternoon, everyone. I'm late. This may be have been said, but Toei was a key player of the U.S. animation in the 80s and 90s for many properties, including Hasbro shows. Most definitely, most definitely. So, if there is a reason, even more of a reason for Hasbro to congratulate them, it definitely makes sense." Isaiah says, "Hey Adam, do you have any convention news today? Yes or no? No convention news today. No, no, sir. Unfortunately." Adam, he says, "Why do some people want the show to keep using Sentai footage? Did they not see Neo Saban era Megaforce abuse Sentai footage for 2 seasons, especially crossovers?" Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, I get the idea of people wanting to keep using Sentai footage at least. If it's not necessarily even Sentai footage, I think it's also maybe just the idea they want to see those suits utilized, right? Like, there's just a connection that people have to past tokusatsu series when it comes to Super Sentai, based off of the idea that Super Sentai and Power Rangers have inherently been connected for the past 20 plus 8 years, right? To be able to do something different or to stop doing that, it feels a little blasphemous. It feels a little bit against the norm that we've kind of seen, and I think it just establishes a really deep history that these two shows and companies have had over the years. That's really important to some people to still be able to keep that partnership, and I think the utilization of Super Sentai footage certainly cements that. And look, I think even as a Power Ranger fan too, there is something exciting about that time of the year, when you're going through the second season of Power Rangers and you're highly anticipating that moment of what's the next adaptation going to be, right? What suits and megazords are going to be carried over from Toei here to the States and adapted for other people to be able to finally get their eyes on some of the greatness that Toei does in fact create, right? So I get the pushback that people certainly have. There is a deep appreciation for Super Sentai because there would be no Power Rangers without Super Sentai to begin with. So the act of taking that away from Power Rangers, again, I think for some people feels very violating, but I think all things should certainly change. I think the idea of still doing that 28 years later does have a tendency of making a show stagnant, right? The idea of like that anticipation being the high moment of a season before we even get the season, and then sometimes it falls on its face and doesn't certainly come through. So I see both reasons as why people still want to see them continue to use Super Sentai footage. And again, it may not even necessarily be a ton of footage, but maybe just the idea of, I want to see these suits, I want to see these Zords, you know what I mean? That really go a long way. And by not doing that anymore, maybe for some people it doesn't quite feel like Power Rangers, but I think Power Rangers can evolve and turn into something else somewhere down the line. Tony Robinson says it's time for Power Rangers to do something different. We can survive with Sentai, and I absolutely agree. I think in the climate that we're in these days, where the world is just overthrown by anything super, Power Rangers. Anything superhero related, if you will. There is a niche where Power Rangers could perfectly fit back in here if you inject it with some more originality and kind of survive without Sentai. I can see it possible. I can see it possibly happening. Shout out to RG Captain RGD for certainly coming through. When we have a new movie or finally finish that reboot sequel movie, a new movie will be coming from Hasbro. I'm gonna I'm gonna say something real quick. Um, the A Games 10, this fandom is going to turn into the Hunger Games in the future if people do divide. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, guys, may the odds be for ever in your favor. Trying to survive this. Blossom says, Toei's work is in part what inspired the creation of my stories, right? So yeah, Blossom definitely has something to be congratulatory for Toei. Cap RGD, when will they adapt the Kamen Rider series? I don't know if they plan on adapting anything from the US. If anything, I think Toei is going to try and launch their own Kamen Rider stuff internationally instead of having it adapted. Sonny Shield says, I'm here for the Hasbro split, but Toei paved the way. There could be no capping. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is one of those things where, if they do, in fact, split and decide not to have that partnership anymore, or at least the idea of, not using the footage. I mean, again, they still could probably do both, right? The idea of still having a partnership, but just under different terms, right? Just maybe reworking a deal to where the idea of having to use Super Sentai footage is no longer in there. Maybe they have other projects in mind that they certainly want to do, but there's definitely no ignoring the idea that Toei definitely paved the way. There is a part of me that, based off of just the reboot alone, I hope that there are some either shout outs, or at least not necessarily shout outs, but homages, if you will, little tips of the cap to Toei in regards to how they paved the way for something like Power Rangers. He says, I think Power Ranger franchise needs to start drifting away from the tokusatsu format, but I do think the concept of Toki itself could be modernized and made into something really cool in the West. I 100% agree with that statement, Sonny Shields. I definitely do. That's one of the reasons why, when I talk about the Jonathan Entwistle reboot and the possible TV series and stuff that comes out of it, the idea of, instead of giving us a 40 episode series, right? Maybe give us a 20 or a 10 or 15 episodes. Let's get 45-minute length episodes instead of 20, right? Some of the toku formats, the serialized stuff. I would be completely okay with that if they decided to kind of start changing the format of Power Rangers a little bit differently, because there are concepts of toku that I think could really be established here in the US that are pretty impressive stuff that I would really love to see. Jared, what's up, Jared? Appreciate you coming through. Using the Super Sentai footage for Megazord cockpit fights, but mixing a little bit of Battleizer and then added in different villains alongside Sentai villains. Some of his ideas. Appreciate you coming through, Jared. Thank you very much. Tony Robinson, Power Rangers is a superhero franchise that needs to be respected in the mainstream media. So splitting from Sentai could be sort of our first step. It definitely could be. It definitely could be, Tony. And again, that's not to emphasize or to push a false narrative that Hasbro and Toei aren't getting along, right? It's just the idea that, again, maybe there's a possibility that they still work together and have different terms, or maybe they just completely, stop working together. There's the fact alone that they have at least thanked them for their partnership and is showing them congratulatory, again, just tells me that they're at least in good graces with one another. But maybe it's just creative differences. Maybe they want to take their companies in different directions after 28 plus years of a partnership. I mean, we've seen the idea of Kamen Rider, of them wanting to push Kamen Rider more into international markets. I think it might be a little bit more difficult to do that with Super Sentai, just because of the success of Power Rangers and what it's going to evolve into. But maybe if it changes into something, say, something different than using the tokusatsu format, maybe that does kind of revitalize Super Sentai for Toei a little bit, to where they can stick to their formula and do things that they want to with their Super Sentai stuff, and then allow Power Rangers to really just kind of be its own thing, and change the way that it's being presented to us, like we said, right? Maybe get out of that tokusatsu sort of format. So you have Power Rangers that now is establishing itself as its own thing, and now Super Sentai kind of working to establish itself into something else along those lines. So I do think there's a world where both companies will certainly benefit from something like that happening. Power Rangers Legacy says they can split and still get along, like two parents who break up but still there for their child. I mean, I feel like that's maybe Hasbro's going to be still having to pay some child support. I have no idea how that's going to work out, but yeah, there is a world where it definitely could happen. But yeah, guys, we'll definitely see what happens there. But in regards to our first topic of the day, again, I'm just looking at this simply as a congratulatory message. The fact that we had Paramount, Warner Brothers, Funimation, other huge companies come out and congratulate them. I'm not seeing this poster or congratulatory message as any type of confirmation for Hasbro and Toei splitting and not using Sentai footage in the future. And I don't see this as confirmation that their partnership is as strong as ever and they're going to continue doing things the way that they've always done things. I think this is exactly what it's meant to be, congratulatory. And if anything, this probably just strengthens the argument for both sides. But wherever you land in that argument, guys, understand we are all Power Ranger fans. We all want to see the best for this company, for this franchise, even if they don't necessarily go in directions that we maybe would like to see them go in. I definitely hope that as Power Ranger fans and part of the fandom that we at least support some of their decisions, and definitely trying to continue to give them just our support as Power Rangers in the franchise definitely will change to some capacity as we go forward. All right, guys. With that out of the way, we will go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is a segment that I have officially titled Simon Says. So we've got Simon Bennett in the house. Not quite, but what's up, Simon? Good to see you, man. High five, brother. No? Oh, okay. The coldness coming from you each and every time I bring you up, man. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it, Simon. We're going to have some words later. But Simon Says, ladies and gentlemen, we wind up getting some brand new. I don't want to say if it's something that Simon has technically said, but anytime we talk about Simon, it's either something he's texted, put it over on Twitter, or something over on his Instagram page. In this past week, you know what? I should have actually have brought up his. Let me go ahead and pull up my Instagram here so I can bring up his tweet, because I do have it for. Let me see, Pukina. I wonder what that. I'm gonna have to ask Simon Bennett like what his name on his page officially stands for. So before I pull up the tweet, I do want to go ahead and pull up his Instagram account so you guys can see what it is that Simon Bennett recently posted. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. This is from Simon Bennett's Instagram page. Can y'all see it? There we go. And I'll pull up I'll bring up another image for you guys, but this was posted 3 days ago. It says behind the scenes production designer extraordinaire, Tracy Collins, hashtag Power Rangers, hashtag Dino Furies. You get to see the production designer herself, but it's not Tracy Collins that we're here to talk about today, guys. It's about this background here. As you get to see some of the background image, we got the orange, the red, and you get to see what looks to be some sort of dress, ladies and gentlemen. If we take a little bit of a closer look here, let me go ahead and stop this. If we take a little bit of a closer look, this is what we get to see over on Twitter. It says Madame Noir's dress in Dino Fury, ladies and gentlemen. And they even highlighted a little bit closer for you guys to get the opportunity to see it for yourself. You get to see Madame Noir, most notably known for her time in Tokuger. She also had a daughter, Miss Greta, if I'm not mistaken. She was also in I believe, the Tokuger and the Ninja crossover movie, if I'm not mistaken. But based off of the Madame Noir picture we see here and the behind the scenes photo that Simon Bennett posted for us, there definitely are some likenesses for sure. I am wondering if this big overcoat here was meant to kind of hide the entirety of the suit itself. Like, it looks like it's being tested. Maybe you got somebody in the bodysuit. It looks like if you were to take off that purple jacket, underneath you can kind of see the sliver of gold on top of the black as well. That's definitely a Madame Noir costume. The fact of how it's going to be utilized, though, will be pretty interesting. You know, I've seen some people wonder, does that mean we're going to get ourselves a Ninja Steel sort of team up here, a collaboration? If anything, this isn't the first time that we've seen them utilize a Tokuger villain. If you guys recall, Baron Nero from Tokuger was eventually transformed into Cosmo Royale over on Ninja Steel. Just completely castrated poor Baron Nero and made him into a joke on Ninja Steel. But they at least utilized his costume in that regards. For that particular season. So there are some people wondering, does this mean Ninja Steel crossover event? Who knows? I mean, I'm not expecting a crossover event this year. I think Simon Bennett has been pretty clear about the idea that, you know, based off of COVID protocols, the idea of having to, quarantine somebody for 2 weeks just to film for like 2 to 3 days didn't necessarily make sense. I don't know if there was any Ninja Steel actors that were from New Zealand. Like, if there is a New Zealand Ninja Steel actor, maybe they were able to go ahead and kind of bring them on, but I'm not quite sure. But this doesn't stop Simon Bennett from, I think, doing other things to go ahead and like, if we can't do a massive crossover, what's the next best thing? And I think that's the idea of taking former maybe Super Sentai shows that may or may not get adapted in the future and utilize those costumes to the best of your advantage to give fans like us that do watch Super Sentai just those, I don't want to say nostalgia pieces, but those Easter egg moments, right? That I think really kind of connect with the fans that, if you ask me, are just as good as crossover events. So I do expect Madame Noir's costume in some way or another to definitely be utilized. Does this mean this is a Ninja Steel crossover? I'm not quite sure. If anything, I'm almost leaning towards the idea of this being more or less one of the theories that I threw out is, look, we do have ourselves a mysterious female in Santora from Dino Fury, right? Void Knight's love, if you will, trying to bring her back to life by grabbing all these Sporexes and using them for power-ups to go ahead and maybe rejuvenate Santora at some point in time. I've been very on the record for saying that if I had to guess, I thought Santora might end up being sort of the Precious character, one of the villains from Rio Soldier. But I'm almost starting to lean towards the idea of seeing this Madame Noir costume being utilized. If there's another mysterious female that we have on Dino Fury, it's also Santora. So I'm almost wondering if this is in fact going to be Santora's form that we're going to be getting when she actually is fully powered up and rescued, or I should say saved from that capsule that she's certainly in. Look, Void Knight is purple. Madame Noir's got a little purple flare on her. It just almost feels like a great combination of Void Knight and Madame Noir to have some sort of relationship with one another. So we'll see what happens, guys. Whether or not that's Santora's final form, I'm still now kind of leaning towards that this might be who's actually in that stasis pod, or whatever you want to call it. But I do find it interesting, and I think this is a really cool way for them to go ahead and utilize Tokuger costumes and giving them a place to certainly be utilized. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here so far, guys. I don't know exactly when this character will debut, but you guys already heard my theory as to who I think, if anything, she'll establish herself as. I don't necessarily think this will be like a one-off character of the week. I think it's too big of a character, I think, from Tokuger to just let be like a one-off and kind of done. Whether or not she's going to become a new general, who certainly knows. But I am leaning towards her being the Santora that we see that Void Knight is trying to resurrect, or at least sort of bring back. But I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think in regards to this. So no, I don't think this means Tokuger's gonna pop up this season. Could this mean Ninja Steel? Yeah, I guess so. But again, I think Simon Bennett has been pretty clear on the idea of no big crossovers coming up, but maybe they've got some surprises under their sleeves. I'm not gonna say that we're not gonna get some sort of cameos, maybe one or two people that do live in New Zealand that maybe have some connections. I mean, look, it's not like Dino Fury has been afraid to tackle the concept of Ninja Steel, right? I mean, we've already seen Mick brought in from Ninja Steel, utilized in one episode. The Nexus Prism clearly has played a significant role in episode number 8 when it comes to that. Is it possible? Absolutely. Am I holding my breath though? Probably not. But we'll see what happens. I wouldn't put it past Simon Bennett to put in further Ninja Steel connections and things like that. But I feel like him and the crew are smart enough to understand that, listen, if we can't do a big bombastic crossover, let's do the next big thing and kind of give some Easter eggs, utilize some costumes that haven't been used before, in giving fans and other things they certainly potentially could want. But we'll see what happens, guys. I want to know what you guys think when you see Madame Noir. How do you think that this costume will be utilized in Dino Fury this season? Are you jumping on board my theory that this could potentially be Santora? Do you think this means a Ninja Steel crossover in some way or another? Who would you like to see back if they were able to have some sort of cameos or not? I definitely would love to know where you guys are landing in regards to this. So Simon, thanks once again, man, for giving us something to talk about this week. But yeah, guys, I definitely want to know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And Simon, hopefully you'll stick around a little bit longer, man. Let's go through the chat. Take some questions with you, man. Let's see here. Ooh, so Rob says, and of course we had Campbell Cooley as Cosmo. Yeah, he did a great job for what they asked of him. But man, Baron Nero was so much better. Marcelino Vasquez thinks that it could mean that Tokuger could be the next adaptation. It could mean that. I think the idea that they've already used Cosmo's design, they're planning on using Madame Noir's design. If you do a Tokuger, I mean, could you bring those characters back? I'm sure you could. But yeah, I personally don't think so. But we'll see what happens, Marcelino. We'll definitely see what happens. Yeah, I'm not under the impression that a crossover will happen. But never say never, guys. Never say never. JB says, what? It's in the house. Thank you very much, JB. Enrique says, is Madame Noir going to be in another Power Ranger season 4 Tokuger adaptation or Dino Fury debut? No, I think this is going to be a Dino Fury debut. I'm not sure how they're going to utilize her. Again, I think, if you want Madame Noir to have some sort of impact to really leave an impression on people, the idea of maybe teaming her up with a Void Knight along with um, mucus and things like that. I think that would make a pretty formidable crew, if you ask me. So I kind of like the idea. I don't think this is leaning towards a Tokuger adaptation. I think if anything, because I think if anything, I think if you're gonna lead towards a Tokuger adaptation, you might not necessarily utilize this costume, right? Because again, we've already used Baron Nero, who turned out to be Cosmo. I really don't want to bring Cosmo back for any reason whatsoever. If you're going to be using Madame Noir here, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen former villains pop up in other seasons, right? They just did it with Sledge from Dino Charge. We saw him briefly, I think, in the following season for like the premiere or something like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I just don't know if you bring in or utilize two Tokuger characters in past seasons and then reutilize them again for another season. Not that they, even though I don't necessarily even look at, well, they were part of the Shadow line, so they definitely had a pivotal role to play when it came to Tokuger. Who is the other villain that's on the tip of my tongue right now that still could be utilized as the General Schwartz? Was the other one who I absolutely loved his design. General Schwartz always reminded me of like a Nazi general with his costume. I thought it was a brilliant costume. Always looked menacing every time he was on the screen. That's still a costume that hasn't been utilized or adapted into Power Rangers. So always a possibility, but I don't think this Madame Noir is hinting at a future Tokuger adaptation. I could be wrong, though. I think it's just going to be utilized really strongly in Dino Fury, though. Power Rangers Legacy says, if Santora ends up being Precious, hope she's not always in the suit. That would make her pointless. Like Turkina turning into a giant monster made her pointless in Galaxy Lightspeed Team Up. I definitely get what you're saying there. Izzy says it might be overkill to bring in more Ninja Steel elements or cameos, and I think for me that's another reason why I'm kind of hoping this Madame Noir is more or less a connection to Void Knight than it is the connection of, hey, we're bringing in Ninja Steel elements. You know what I mean? So I am very much leaning towards, again, the Madame Noir thing. The only reason why I brought it up is because she was at least a focal point, at least in the Tokuger Ninja movie. So there are scenes with her along with like some Ninja Steel villains, right? So I think that's maybe what's urging maybe some of the Ninja Steel talk as well outside of the Tokuger adaptation type of stuff. But I think if anything, Simon Bennett and the crew will just utilize this costume as a new villain for Dino Fury. And again, I'm leaning towards the idea of this actually being Santora's form when she wakes up. I was very early on thinking that Santora would turn into Precious from Rio Soldier, but I am now starting to think, I think with maybe even some of the purple elements and the purple vibes, maybe there is a connection to Void Knight here, but we'll see. We'll see. Nothing's, again, this was just a behind the scenes glimpse. AJ says, stop trying to bring back Ninja Steel characters in Dino Fury. Stop trying to redeem Ninja Steel. Yeah, it feels like that, right? It feels like that, at least in episode 8. I don't know how many more Ninja Steel references we're certainly going to get, but as long as it doesn't overshadow what Dino Fury is actually doing, I'll be okay with it, honestly. But yeah, I definitely am hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that it's more Void Knight related than anything else. Indy Uchiha in the house. What's up, Indy? Appreciate you certainly coming through, guys. All right. Let's see here. And with that topic out of the way, we will get into another Power Ranger-esque topic for you guys. Oh, you know what I wanted to go ahead and do real quick? This past week, before we move on to our next topic, I thought this would be really cool to kind of throw in here for you guys. This past week, if you guys don't know, I've been watching on Netflix recently Fear Street. It's a trilogy that's a trilogy of movies that have come out. Fear Street is actually based off of a group of books and novels written by R.L. Stine back in the 90s. Most people might recognize R.L. Stine from the Goosebumps book, but she also had more of a young adult sort of group of novels called Fear Street. And Netflix just recently adapted Fear Street into a trilogy of movies this past week. I want to say it was Fear Street 1994. They also had a sequel called Fear Street 1978, and then they also had a Fear Street 1666 that just came out. Three movies, but all of them connected as a trilogy. I had a lot of fun with this series, honestly. The first movie, it was okay, enjoyable, gruesome stuff. Definitely along the lines of a horror elements type of thing. The first one was just okay. The third one I certainly enjoyed, but it's the second one, Fear Street 1978, that I absolutely loved. It felt very much like a callback to the classic, like 80, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason sort of thing. I absolutely loved just the vibes that I wind up getting from that. And one of the actresses that is actually in that 1978 Fear Street movie is somebody that I have fantasy casted in our Power Ranger video. If you guys recall, months ago, we wind up doing a fantasy casting for Jonathan Entwistle's rebooted Power Ranger movie. And I gave my top 6 characters that I would certainly like to see cast in the Power Ranger film itself. And one of those actresses was in fact Sadie Sink herself. You guys might recall her from Stranger Things. I said I truly would love to have Sadie Sink as a future Power Ranger. I already fantasy cast her in our Jonathan Entwistle PR movie reboot video, but watching Fear Street, I put 1994, but it's actually 1978 one, just solidified why and just how amazing of a talent she certainly is. I really enjoyed Sadie Sink in this movie. I truly did. So much so that I had to go ahead and put a tweet about it. But what makes this tweet even more interesting, guys, if you go and check out the tweet over on our Twitter page, Jonathan Entwistle himself liked the tweet. He actually liked the tweet. Now, again, I'm not going to, deep dive into it like, is this confirmation that Jonathan Entwistle has already cast Sadie Sink as one of his Power Rangers? For me, I'll at least be thankful at the idea that he kind of likes my casting choice here. So I'll take that for certainly what it is. Whether or not, he already had Sadie Sink in mind. Maybe it's somebody that he's been wanting to kind of land also, and knowing that somebody really likes that idea. Maybe he's appreciative of it. He's clearly going to cast who he certainly wants to. But the fact that he at least liked the image, just at least for me, lets me know that he at least appreciates Sadie Sink's work also. And whether or not that's somebody that he's got his eye on to go ahead and pop up in the Power Ranger movie, we'll see what happens. But guys, if you're not watching Stranger Things to see her play the character in Max, I would recommend that you guys go ahead and check out Fear Street 1978. It's the second movie in the trilogy. Hell, check out Fear Street in general. I really enjoyed it. Me and the girlfriend really enjoyed it also. And show Sadie Sink some support, but her big moment, because they tend to utilize actors in multiple roles during this trailer, right, for different time periods. I don't recall Sadie Sink popping up in the 1994 one. Maybe I missed her in it, but she does have a huge role in the second movie, and then she pops up as this character very briefly in the 1666 film, which is the end of the trilogy. But if you want to see Sadie Sink and what she's capable of doing as an actor, check out Fear Street 1978, along with along with Stranger Things. So Jonathan Entwistle, maybe he likes my casting choice. Maybe he just likes Sadie Sink. We'll definitely see if she manages to become a Power Ranger in the future. So we'll see what happens, guys. But the next topic that I want to go ahead and talk about today, I feel like we haven't talked about this in quite some time, guys. Legends of the White Dragon is upon us. JDF is working his ass off to go ahead and put this movie together. But we just got a major casting announcement here from the Illuminati this past week that Mark Dacascos joins the cast of Legends of the White Dragon. It is, in fact, an exclusive article. I mean, this guy, amazing stuff. Not only does he have, he just popped up recently, I feel like in the last John Wick movie, he had a great role in that. He's also, if I'm not mistaken, isn't he the Iron Chef on the Food Network? Like, isn't he like the Iron Chef sort of thing that like looks down at all the other chefs and welcomes them into the cooking area, whatever the case may be? I believe he used to be the Iron Chef there as well. But he definitely has chops, and he definitely has a connection and tie to tokusatsu, which I thought was fantastic also. So really huge name, great opportunity for them to go ahead and bring back Mark into some sort of form of tokusatsu or Power Rangers related. But I thought this was fantastic. Let's go ahead and dive into this article real quick just to see what his involvement is truly going to be, guys. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Legends of the White Dragon. So this is the exclusive. It says the Legend of the White Dragon production is excited to announce that actor and martial artist Mark Dacascos as part of the cast. Some of his roles include Zero in John Wick Chapter 3, Wu Fat in the CBS series Hawaii 5-0, Draven in The Crow, Stairway to Heaven, and many more. In Legends of the White Dragon, he plays Zhang, one of the monks who is sworn to protect the White Dragon crystal. He helps Eric Reed, played by Jason David Frank, in his journey to becoming the White Dragon and in his fight against the evil Dragon Prime. The audience is in for a treat to see Dacascos and JDF on screen together, as both are highly skilled martial artists. The fact that he is, this paragraph alone gets me hyped. The fact that he's sworn to protect the White Dragon crystal and is going to help Eric Reed in his journey to becoming the White Dragon. I'm really hoping that this is like a mentorship aspect for Eric Reed, like to be able to see JDF and Mark on screen together, whether that be practicing, whether that be JDF learning a couple things from him, I think is going to go a really, really long way. And I can't wait to see. I mean, anytime that you add talent, because Mark is a great actor and a great martial artist. Anytime that you add quality acting to your product, it's only going to go ahead and make it better, guys. So I think this is a huge win for JDF, a huge name to certainly attach. And again, it says Mark also had a previous role in American tokusatsu. For those of you who don't know, it says he's no stranger to American tokusatsu genre, as he has already played a few roles, one of which goes all the way back to 1986 when he played the original Red Ranger in the Bioman pilot. Bioman was a Saban's first proof of concept for what we now know as Power Rangers. While Bioman has not been released to the public, images and promotional art have been uncovered. He was also featured in Kamen Rider Dragon Knight as Iubulan, the Advent Master and the creator of the Advent Dex, the main transformation device in the show. So, no stranger to tokusatsu at all. The first original Red Ranger before Austin St. John was actually brought in to go ahead and be the lead for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So that's one hell of a legacy. One hell of a legacy to have for yourself, and then now officially all these years later be attached to a JDF project called Legends of the White Dragon. It's almost like it's kind of come full circle. Only thing that's missing is for this guy to be in a reboot of Power Rangers. Jonathan Entwistle, I wonder who you can get as a mentor. Mark, or if you're up for it, man, I would love to see Mark kind of brought back into Power Rangers in some way, shape, or form. And I do think, if anything, if there is any opportunity to bring Mark back in a bigger role for Power Rangers, it definitely is with whatever Jonathan Entwistle is certainly creating. I mean, Mark has talked about the idea in a previous Illuminati interview that he would be open to a Power Ranger return as long as the return certainly made sense and he had the script and he really enjoyed what he saw. There is a possibility, guys, and I really would love to have Mark again, who's not only a phenomenal actor but a fantastic martial artist, to bring his talent to, say, a Jonathan Entwistle rebooted Power Ranger universe. Yes, please. Yes, please. I would absolutely love that. So we'll see what happens in the future. But regardless, right now, Mark will in fact be in Legend of the White Dragon, and I'm really excited to kind of see what him and JDF can definitely do together on screen together. Because listen, guys, I'm a sucker for martial arts. I truly am. The idea of him playing some sort of protector and mentor, it definitely showcases to me that he doesn't have just a small, flimsy role, right? It clearly is important. And if he's going to be willing to team up with JDF for this type of production and movie, I do think that the possibilities are endless as to where Mark can certainly pop back up when it comes to future Power Ranger concepts. I mean, the fact that this guy literally had a one-on-one fight with Keanu Reeves in John Wick, that he's formidable enough, if you will, to have that type of role to play in a movie, I think says wonders for Mark's stardom, and I think again is a really big grab and win for Legend of the White Dragon. It was something I was already certainly going to watch whenever it certainly would drop, but this gets me even more excited to know that he's in here. Again, I don't know if we're going to see them facing off each other as enemies. It feels very much like it's a mentorship role, but you give me a training montage with Mark and JDF, I'm just going to eat it up. But I want to know your guys' level of enthusiasm. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of curious if JDF knew about Mark's past when it comes to American tokusatsu. And maybe that's why he reached out, or maybe he just felt this was the man for the job after seeing some of his amazing work in the past and things like that. So I feel like every time I've seen a Mark Dacascos interview, he's always a really genuine guy. So I cannot wait to see what JDF and him have in store, guys. But listen, I want to know your thoughts. You hear Mark Dacascos joining Legends of the White Dragon. Does this get you even more pumped for the future of Legends of the White Dragon? I definitely want to know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys, because I think this is a huge win for him, to certainly say the least. Always going to be bringing more eyes to what JDF certainly going to be working on. I'm actually surprised. I am kind of curious if any other news articles, news sources like a Variety or like a Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, I'm wondering if they're going to be picking up on this story also, because it's not like Mark Dacascos is just some throwaway guy, right? Like his name is big enough, especially when attached to things, to certainly go ahead and be sort of brought up. So I am hoping that this allows Legends of the White Dragon to even get more publicity than it already is. So I definitely want to know what you guys think for sure. Let's see here. I'm going to go into the live chat and see what some of you guys are saying. Shout out to Alden for certainly coming through. Alden, thank you very much, man. I'm sorry, I'm falling so behind on the comments here. I'm trying to catch up with you guys. You guys are talking a little bit more about Madame Noir. That's cool, guys. Good to see you guys loving that costume. This thing okay, there we go. I think I'm back to where I was before. Justin, real quick for Justin here, because he says, but it's about time Toei and Hasbro are not going to split. Hasbro, they're congratulating them on this everything. See what I'm saying, guys? We already got somebody that's on one side of the thing. I'm not reading it into it that way. I'm just literally reading it into congratulatory. But hey, you look into it how you wish. JB says, "What's this? Is that a fan film?" Yeah, it's kind of like a fan film. I feel like JDF has been trying to put this together for ages, right? Like they had like a teaser trailer for this like last year or a year or so ago. They had like um Sierra Hanna in there. Jason Fount was in there. I think Johnny Bosch might have been in the trailer. I think they might have just completely revamped it though. Maybe scheduling conflicts wind up having people not being it any longer. I feel like they went ahead and I don't want to say did a complete 180, but maybe there was some redesigns and rewrites for the script, if you will. So I don't know what other Power Rangers past Power Rangers are going to be in it now. I do know that the lady from the Suicide Squad movie that's going to be playing Mongol, she's going to be in it also. Beast of a woman, man. She looks incredible. So her and Mark Dacascos, I'm really looking forward to seeing. But I do think it's JDF and it's Bat in the Sun, I believe, collaborating to kind of put this together. And if anybody knows anything about Bat in the Sun, they do fantastic work. Honestly, they really put their best foot forward. AJ says, fingers crossed that Legends of the White Dragon is not only 15 minutes, with the first half being commentary. I'm looking at you, Bloodshot, though it was re-edited as a movie. He says, Dacascos was Victor in Bioman. Yes, that's exactly what we talked about in the article itself. Tony Robinson says, I wouldn't mind seeing White Dragon come from his universe to the Ranger universe looking for reinforcements. I dig that idea. Tony. I would love to see him pop up. I feel like we've well, I guess never mind. I was going to make a comment, but I guess it doesn't really hold up. Adam says, do you think that some of the cast members who are Ranger alumni stayed on or left the project due to COVID restrictions or just kept hidden from any behind the scenes video from JDF? I don't know if they left because of COVID restrictions or if it was more like scheduling things, if there were any script rewrites, if they had to push back filming or whatever the case may be, it maybe some of the other Power Rangers alumni that we might have seen in the previous trailer, maybe their schedules just got full and couldn't make it for the filming. I could be wrong though. I personally would like another trailer just to see exactly who's going to be in this movie. Legend of the White. Hold on. Legend of the White Dragon cast. I'm trying to see if they still have. Yeah, see, I mean, they're still showing Sierra Hanna, Jason Fount, Johnny Bosch, still all involved. King Bach. So it's I don't know if any of that's changed or not. I'm just saying from the stuff that I have seen recently in behind the scenes footage, I feel like I haven't seen them up there, but who knows? I'm still waiting for another trailer, honestly. I'm still waiting. Power Ranger Legacy says, I'm still annoyed that the order was scrapped because no one funded it, yet JDF got his Legends of the White Dragon to actually happen. I guess JDF gets what he wants. Absolutely. I mean, JDF definitely has connections. The idea that he has connections with Bat in the Sun after working with them for such a long time, it's probably easier for him to kind of make that money. I mean, I even literally saw him doing interviews nationally on certain news channels and stuff trying to promote this. So he's definitely worked his ass off to make Legends of the White Dragon and put it out there for people to recognize to support him. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's definitely doing the heavy lifting to making this happen, sort of thing. Never tell JDF that he can't accomplish anything. I'll tell you that shit right now. I feel like that's one of the messages that JDF always pursues and doesn't really give up on much stuff. So it's something admirable, to certainly say the least, about JDF. But guys, I want to know your thoughts. Again, you hear this casting choice with Mark Dacascos, who has huge ties to American tokusatsu in the past, now helping and jumping on board JDF's film Legend of the White Dragon. Does this get you hyped for the future of this movie? I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. I still don't know when this movie's coming out, but I'll tell you what, guys, once we find out, once everything starts rolling out officially, I'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys posted as to where you can certainly watch it when the time comes, guys. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Let's see here. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, I think we're going to transition over to some tokusatsu news, guys. Tokusatsu's in the house. Let's see here. I definitely need a swig of some coffee before we get into this next topic. I'm going to be honest with you. Because there is a lot, and I mean a lot of enthusiasm in regards to Kamen Rider Revice, ladies and gentlemen. This past week, more details finally have emerged about Kamen Rider Revice, guys, as we get to see an official image along with an official logo for Kamen Rider Revice, as we're not only getting one main rider in here, but two main riders this season to certainly look forward to. So let's get into the details first. We'll boast about this. We'll talk about this, all the details and things like that, our enthusiasm levels and things like that. And then from there, we'll get into the controversy. Okay? We'll get into the controversy. But first off, for those of you who are excited to watch Kamen Rider Revice, story and crew details have officially been revealed. This comes to us from TokuNation.com. It says the Toei has updated their official site to introduce the third Kamen Rider of the Reiwa era so far. So we've had 01, we've had Saber, and now we have Revice. It says Kamen Rider Revice is the story of a young man who makes a deal with the devil. Ooh, that fascinates me already. The sinister dead man cult has developed a device called the Vice Stamp to awaken the demons within humans, which they call dead men. Okay. So they're awakening evil demons from within humans. Our hero's name is... what is that? Icky? Is it Ike? Icky? Did they really name this guy Icky? Icky Igarashi. He strikes a bargain with the demon Vice to use the stamp power and save the world, transforming both. And save the world, transforming both into Kamen Rider Revi and Kamen Rider Vice. So I think that's pretty cool how they took both of the rider names and they just combined it for the title of the show for Kamen Rider Revice. So we've got Kamen Rider Revi or Revi. That's going to clearly be Icky. As you can see, he's going to be the main one in the blue and the pink, which is a great combination of colors. I mean, this thing pops to me when I look at these costume designs. Both of them absolutely pop to me. And if I'm already loving what they look like when it comes to just this official picture, I might lose my shit when I see him in live action. But it says, so he strikes a bargain with the demon Vice. I'm assuming maybe that's his own personal demon that he's striking this deal with, this bargain with, if you will, to go ahead and utilize their powers to kind of save the world. So it says Icky will be portrayed by newcomer Kentaro Maeda, while Vice will be voiced by Subaru Kimura, who is perhaps best known to Toku fans as the voice as Caesar Blaster in Q Ranger. Outside of battle, Icky will receive support from his younger siblings in Daiji and Sakura. It says the head writer of Kamen Rider Revice will be Hanta Kinoshita, a newcomer to the tokusatsu world. And for those of you who don't know, when it comes to Hanta Kinoshita, most notably known for his work in novels. He's been working really big into like novelizations. So he definitely is an author, with some pedigree behind his name. And the fact that they're bringing him on board as a newcomer to tokusatsu kind of gets me fascinated. The idea of injecting sort of new blood into a series, I think, is always great, because it does bring forth like just fresh storytelling, a fresh vision, if you will, to a franchise that's been around for 50 years, if you will. So I love the idea of them bringing in this author, this novelist, to go ahead and write it, because just the synopsis alone sounds incredibly fascinating to me, to the point to where I do think potentially it could be something really promising. The fact that we have somebody brand new that's going to be tackling it. As far as the director, longtime writer director Takayuki Shibasaki will return to helm the series. So this director has clearly worked on a ton of long-time writer stuff in the past, along with some Super Sentai work as well. And then it says the music will be will be composed by Kotaro Nakagawa. And another writer veteran. So Toei has scheduled the press conference for Revice to be July 27th, which is literally in like 3 days or maybe 2 days in Japan. The series itself will begin September 5th, guys. So mark your calendars. September 5th, Kamen Rider Revice will be airing, and then the press conference will in fact be July 27th. I will be very fascinated in regards to this press conference. I am kind of curious as to who's going to be there, who's going to speak, what they certainly have to say, their level of anticipation for this upcoming series itself. There's definitely a lot to look forward to when it comes to Revice. So everything that I'm hearing so far, just the brief synopsis: story of a young man who makes a deal with the devil. The sinister dead man cult has developed a device called the Vice Stamp to awaken the demons within humans, which are called dead men. Our hero, he strikes a bargain with the demon Vice. I'm assuming that's maybe his own demon within him, to go ahead and use the stamp power and save the world. And when he transforms, some of the things that I've been reading is the idea that, is he like just a voice? I believe it's probably one of the reasons why he's not going to get his own embodiment. There was another one here from Tokusatsu Network that had another breakdown of this. Let me see how they refer to it as. It says, through the use of the mysterious Vice stamps, monsters called Deadmen are born within humans. Fighting and protect his family from Deadman's clutches, he himself has a contract with Vice, a demon that lives within his body. Together, they transform into the two Kamen Riders. Yeah, so it looks like, I'm assuming, if anything, maybe he probably, I don't know if he hears the voices while he's just in his human form, but when he does transform, it looks as though this upcoming demon Vice will officially get his own sort of embodiment and body. So still very much based off of the dinosaur theme, as you can see from both of the designs here. I really love both of the designs. I think they're fun. The colors, they pop. The pink and black, great combination. The pink and blue with the shine and those big bulbous like eyes, the red eyes. I think it looks incredible. So when it comes to the design for Kamen Rider Revice, I'm here for it, guys. I'm here for it, along with that synopsis. So let's get into the controversy, shall we? Let's get into the controversy. And you guys know, again, when it comes to me and giving my thoughts, I'm always going to be 100% honest with you guys, okay? So while Kamen Rider sounds fantastic, the issue that we're having, the issue that continues to pop up when it comes to this, is the fact that the history for some of these actors that are playing these characters may not necessarily be the cleanest. Not to say that everybody's perfect, to say the least. We all make our mistakes. We all do things that probably is going to be looked down upon by some people over time. Unfortunately for one of these actors, and the voice actor, Subaru Kimura, there are some things that are not so easily ignored. You know what I mean? For those of you who don't know, when it comes to the voice actor that is in fact going to be playing, mind you, the second most important character in this series as Kamen Rider Vice, again, while not necessarily having an embodiment, an actual body to see his face on screen, his voice will certainly be contributing to a significant amount of time when it comes to Revice. So when it comes to Subaru Kimura, a few Instagram posts and photos that have in fact been since then removed from social media have popped up since they were in fact released maybe like 2-3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, to showcase that when it comes to Subaru Kimura, there's definitely some racist in here, my guys. Definitely some racist in here. And what I mean by that is clearly mocking African culture, as well as using blackface. Okay. For those of you who are unaware as to some of the things that this guy has done in his time, let me go ahead and pull it up for you. Okay. If you're insensitive to this type of stuff, I apologize, but it is something that needs to be said and brought up. Okay. So this is from Twitter. Don't forget to unfollow Subaru Kimura and not giving him support, friends. So this is what Subaru Kimura wind up posting on his Instagram. He's got two photos here. One, gentleman for African American culture here. Clearly, they have their own idea of culture, what works for them, right? And then Sobora, in response to this photo, decided, hey, you know what? Me stuffing my face with pizza really resembles this guy. You know, clearly poking fun at another culture for the way that they looked. Maybe he certainly looked at this as a joke, as something that's quite harmless. But if you ask me, I think the idea of making this sort of connection to anybody is pretty fucking disgusting, if you ask me. And it doesn't get better from that, guys. It doesn't get better from that, as there is, in fact, another photo of him actually in blackface as well. Guy doesn't even cover his arms. It's literally just him in blackface to try and pretend as though he is, in fact, a rapper. So those are some of the things that we've seen from Subaru Kimura, who, mind you, again, is the second most important character in Kamen Rider Revice, who's going to be doing the voice work for Vice. So I'm not going to give Subaru a pass here whatsoever. As somebody who's multicultural myself, half Black, half Puerto Rican, the idea of somebody using this as a form of comedy is really it's really disgusting to me. I'm not going to act like this man doesn't know. I mean, who doesn't know the idea of wearing blackface is derogatory or doesn't have any sort of connection to a really dark and racist past? You're a grown-ass man. You should know better. Sobora should certainly know better. And the fact that after all these years, the only thing that's happened is he's removed them from his social media, has never issued an apology, goes to just continue to show me the sort of blatant ignorance. You know, the blind ignorance to kind of turn your head to, oh, I didn't know it was going to offend anybody. Get the fuck out of here. Come on. Who doesn't know that blackface is offensive? And if you don't know it's offensive, let me educate you. Okay. Because if other people in the community, if they're not gonna educate you, I'll educate you. All right. Let's go ahead and pull up some articles here for you guys, just so that we're all on the same page in regards to why blackface, why the fact that we even have to ask this question as to why blackface is offensive. Let's look up some details, shall we? It's been nearly 200 years since white performers started painting their faces black to mock enslaved Africans in minstrel shows across the United States. It was racist and offensive then, and it's still racist and offensive today. Among the recent controversies to erupt in blackface, they got a bunch of other suggestions in here also, but it says the origins of blackface date back to the minstrel shows of the mid-19th centuries, where white performers darkened their skin with polish and cork, putting on tattered clothing, and exaggerated their features to look stereotypically black. The first minstrel show mimicked enslaved Africans on southern plantations, depicting black people as lazy, ignorant, cowardly, or hypersexual. It was intended to be funny to white audiences, but to the black community, they were demeaning and hurtful. One of the most popular blackface characters was Jim Crow, guys. This pushed forward the idea of Jim Crow laws here in our state. The idea of keeping African Americans and blacks away from the ability to be humans in their own rights, to have the ability to vote, to let their voices be heard, if you will. It's always been seen as derogatory. The fact that Sabora Kimura literally puts on blackface to represent himself as a rapper is derogatory. It's just absolutely disgusting. It brings forth that type of same mockery and stereotypes of African Americans that whites back in the mid 19th centuries had fun doing then, and some people clearly still have fun doing now, and it does nothing but hurt the black society, guys. It's part of human rights. You don't treat people that way. I mean, goddamn, like, do that. So why are we having people in Japan still doing this to this day, the 21st century, guys? And it's not like this is the first incident that's happened in Japan. We've had people over in Japan that have done this before, pretty recent, as like 2018 as well. There is clearly some sort of disconnect, or maybe not fully understanding, whether that be the Asian culture, the Japanese culture, as to the demeaningness that having blackface certainly represents to somebody of the black culture. And my suggestion to Toei here outside of this is, guys, if you are trying to do this because of the fact that, like, if you are trying to bring your platform of Kamen Rider to international markets, you better be careful. You better be careful. Because if you don't start vetting the people that you're bringing on and what they're doing on their social medias, you're going to have a shitstorm on your hands in regards to that. Because if tokusatsu fandom reacts this way to what they're seeing in Kamen Rider, and the idea of sweeping it under the rug or thinking it's okay to have somebody that clearly has racist mindset, that it's okay for them to still be on the show and push your show forward in that sense. If you try and bring that same sort of mentality here to the States or internationally, you're going to have a much harder time trying to explain that to people. You're going to be on a much bigger platform to explain to people why you think it's personally okay for somebody to be able to perform blackface and still be a representation of your company, And again, I'm not one that's big in regards to cancel culture. I'm not out here saying, you know what, fire this man or anything like that. But you know what would go a really long way? A fucking apology would go a really long way in regards to it. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Me, Indy, Stuart, we're going to be having a conversation this weekend as to whether or not we want to review Kamen Rider Revice. It sucks to be kind of put in this sort of situation, but I feel some type of way about it. And you guys don't have to feel some type of way about it. That's more than fine. But as a black man myself, I feel some type of way about it. And I'm going to say this too. You know, over on my Twitter account, I even put out a question to the black tokusatsu community this week. I specifically asked them, and maybe I'm just a nobody in the Twitter sphere. Maybe what I asked maybe just didn't get out to enough people. But I put a question out for a black tokusatsu fandom. I'm going to discuss Kamen Rider Revice tomorrow on my show, along with the blackface photo from Subaraya Kimura. How are you handling it? How does it affect you? And is it giving you second thoughts on watching this season? And I've gotten 6 likes, 3 retweets, impressions, 695 times people saw this on their tweet on Twitter, 42 total engagements. Not one black tokusatsu fan responded and gave me their thoughts. I had one white person reach out to me and actually give me their thoughts, and I was appreciative of that. But the fact that nobody in the black, I feel like maybe I just don't know enough black people in the tokusatsu community. But the fact that it's been retweeted, has been liked, I would think that somebody would stand up and certainly say something, and nobody does. And so I'm wondering if this is a case of the tokusatsu fandom just turning a blind eye towards it. And I'm not turning a blind eye towards it. I think it's derogatory. I think it's demeaning. I think it's disgusting. I think the fact of what he did is just another representation of people trying to have fun with something that they clearly don't understand. Open a fucking book and understand the history of what blackface means to black community and culture. Don't paint this ignorance of, oh, what's the big deal of putting on blackface? Go fucking look. Don't throw that question out there like you're fucking stupid, like you're completely ignorant to the fact of what it means. If you don't know what it means and you don't understand why people are upset about it, do some history lessons, okay? I literally just pulled up a section for you. Let me go ahead and pull up another one, okay? Because this is history time, guys. Because I'm tired of people acting like we just put on blinders and ignore the shit that's in front of us. That's how stuff like this continues. When people keep their mouth shut and they don't say what they need to say, for people like this to go out and apologize and learn something for them damn selves. I'm sorry. This is the type of shit that gets me worked up. I hate ignorant ass people. I do. How the history of blackface is rooted in racism. It takes one fucking Google search. Blackface became popular in the US after the Civil War as white performers played characters that demean and dehumanized African Americans. The fact that blackface turned into Jim Crow, which then turned into Jim Crow laws to stop black people from voting and not giving them their human rights, that's what it goes back to. Oh, we're in the 21st century, though. Who gives a fuck? It means the same thing. Asians don't want us whitewashing the Asian community when we try and hire them for roles. Why would you want to put on blackface to try and portray yourself as a rapper? Can't you just be a rapper? Like, why do you got to put on blackface to then, again, the stereotypical, because then homeboy rocks the necklace, the fucking bandana, right? It all ensues a negative connotation towards African Americans. The portrayal of blackface. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Did I pull this up already? Let me pull this up again. Here we go. The portrayal of blackface when people darken their skin with shoe polish, grease paint, or burnt cork and paint on enlarged lips and other exaggerated features is steeped in centuries of racism. It peaked into popularity during an era in the United States when demands for civil rights by recently emancipated slaves triggered racial hostility. And today, because of blackface historic use to denigrate people of African descent, its continued use is still considered racist. It's an assertion of power and control. It allows a society to routinely and historically imagine African Americans as not fully human, and it serves to rationalize violence and Jim Crow segregation. It takes one Google search. One Google search. And if Sabara Kimura doesn't think that the idea of mocking an African culture, putting on blackface isn't worthy of an apology, fuck him, man. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Yet Kamen Rider wants to be pushed internationally. You do that. You do that, Toei. You do that, Toei, and you think if the tokusatsu fandom alone is the only people that are going to say something about that, you're highly mistaken. You're highly mistaken. So please vet your people much differently than that. So you should know what Sabara Kimura wind up doing. You should know. You have the right to know. You have the right to be angry. And the more and more I think about it, the more I don't want to review this show. You know, there are some people that are going to say, you know what, I'm not gonna purchase their merchandise. And listen, I'm just a no fucking body on YouTube. Okay, I appreciate your guys' support each and every week. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers on here. I love each and every one of you subscribers and your supporters. I truly do. There's nothing. I'm not saying anything against you guys at all. But in the grand scheme of things, when you've got so many other YouTubers out there that are talking about this, that have a much bigger platform, I'm a dot on the radar, okay? My non-watching of Kamen Rider Revice is not going to hurt the pockets of Toei at all. Does that mean I shouldn't say anything? Does that mean that I should just continue to support this show blindly? No, I don't. I don't. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I hate that Toei has put me in this position. Me and the crew will talk about it. I hate the fact that we literally just started doing Kamen Rider reviews for Saber. And we brought in people because of our Saber reviews, our Kamen Rider reviews, and things like that. And to be able to tell those supporters, you know what, hey guys, we may not review Revice. It kind of hurts, you know. It makes one definitely try and figure out where their priorities are, where their values are. The idea of, you know, each and every week I come on here and I support Toei. You know, I promote all their work that they do, whether it be Kamen Rider or Super Sentai. I take time out of my hard-working fucking days. This isn't my only job. I have a 9 to 6 job Monday through Friday. I've got a girlfriend that I certainly do my best to attend to and give, that I pay attention to, despite me having to still do this stuff for Super Sentai. I bust my ass to support Toei and what they do and get the word out and product to tokusatsu fans out there here in the world. Why should I put that type of energy towards supporting a company that puts a fucking middle finger in my face saying, you know what, it's okay if we have these type of actors to represent our shows? Why would I want to promote that? And this isn't political. This is human rights thing. This is just being a fucking human being towards other people. And it just feels really disrespectful with the idea that you want me to then support this show, review it each and every week. Talking for what? So I can give some racist the acknowledgement? No. So I find myself in a pickle. Do I want to review Revice and fucking swallow my pride and just focus on building my channel and a core audience? Or do I want to stand up for something? And even though me boycotting the show is not going to do anything for myself besides lose subscribers and supporters, should I still do the right thing? And some people can sleep at night separating that. Some people will say, "Oh, he's just a voice actor, Anna. Why can't you separate the actor from, you know, from the work that he's doing? You know, they're not the same people." I get it. I get what you're saying. And then there are some instances that I can, but you know what I think it is? I think the idea that this man has not apologized, that he hasn't shown remorse, that he hasn't shown a better understanding of what he did, that I think says a lot. Maybe if there was an apology, maybe if there was an understanding and saying, you know, I sat down with the producers, or I spoke with, you know, African Americans, or in, you know, in this realm, and I much better understand what I did was certainly wrong, then you know what? Then maybe he might garner some attention to promote. So I don't know, guys. I'm just being honest with you. That's just how I feel. As a black man, that's how I feel. I wish that there were more black fans in tokusatsu community that felt some type of way about this and spoke out about it. Whether or not Toei cares, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I do care if Toei cares. I want them to care, but I can't force my own beliefs on somebody. But if you want me to stop Asian hate, not that I hate Asians, I look at everybody equally. I look at, we're humans. We all started from the same place. Don't matter where we migrated to. We all come from the same the same origins. Okay, it's how I've always looked at it. But don't be hypocritical in wanting hashtag stop Asian hate. But you know what? Let me go rock this blackface. Like, you know, you can't have it both ways. Understand that shit hurts people. It sends a derogatory and disgusting message that it's okay to do, and it's not, because there's a terrible history behind it. And if you don't know the history behind it, don't be fucking ignorant and just, oh, I don't know, I don't get the idea of why. Do some research. Grow the fuck up. Ugh. I'm sorry. I go on rants like this, guys. And again, I'm not some SJW fucking warrior. I'm not here to politicize anything. No, I'm here to talk about fucking human decency, people. We talk about this idea, we're Power Ranger fans, right? Inclusion, diversity. So no, I'm not cool with this. I'm not cool with this. And I feel some type of way about this. And again, Indy and Stuart, we'll talk. We'll talk about if this is a show that should be reviewed. Should we put a disclaimer in the beginning of our videos? Like, we do not agree with the actions of Subaru Kimura for his blackface and his racist antics before each and every review. Should we go to those lengths to kind of make our point and voice heard, but still review the show? I've almost vowed to myself that this is the last time here on APlus Morphinominal. I will tell you this right now. Regardless of what we do for Revice, I will tell you this right now. This is the last time I mention anything Kamen Rider Revice related on APlus Morphinominal. I'm being 100% honest with you guys. If that upsets you, if that hurts my subscriber base, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with that. That's fine. I'll swallow that. That's not a problem. If you have a problem with me no longer talking about Kamen Rider Revice on our weekly show here, if you have a problem with that, have a problem with it. I am not, after this article right here, I'm not talking about Revice anymore. I'm not talking about Revice anymore. If Stuart and them want to do reviews, maybe I'll put a disclaimer up again. I don't even know if we're going to do Kamen Rider Revice reviews. But after this show, I'm personally am not giving Kamen Rider Revice a single minute of my time at all. And maybe I'm the only person in Tokusatsu that's going to do that. But you know what? I'm going to do it, because for me, it's fucking disgusting. Anyway, got my ass worked up, guys. Got my ass worked up. I don't like racists, man. And I don't like people that take advantage of other cultures and think it's cool to make fun of them, right? Like, I thought I saw somebody mention the idea that Subaru Kimura himself is a rapper or tries to rap from time to time. If that's not a definition of a fucking culture vulture, I don't know what is. To be able to say that you're a rapper and then yet you want to go out here and stereotype African Americans by blackfacing yourself. Culture vulture at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. So until Subaru Kimura comes out and apologizes or understands what he did as wrong, I'm not going to talk about Kamen Rider Revice here on APlus Morphinominal on our weekly show anymore. I'm not. Magazine scans come out, first episode drops, magazine scans, interviews about the Kamen Rider. Nope. I'm not going to give you the time of day to support your channel, support your stuff when you clearly don't even support my culture that way. If you're okay with turning a blind eye towards it, that's fine. But I can't for myself personally. So we'll talk again. I'll talk with the team. I'll see if we do Kamen Rider Revice. But again, if you don't understand the meaning of blackface, why it's taken so seriously, literally Google, why is blackface offensive? Why is blackface offensive? 4 fucking words. So in the 21st century, there's no reason to be ignorant or ignore anything. Being blatantly ignorant is just as, you might as well be racist. You know, being blatantly ignorant and not doing anything or saying anything about it. I refuse to be a part of that. So yeah, history lesson for you guys. Why it's offensive, what it means, what it does to the Black community and what it represents, where it came from. So no, it's not cool to use it on Halloween as a costume, as a portrayal. Use your own fucking skin color and just dress up as somebody. You don't see me putting on fucking yellow makeup or making my eyes look a certain way to pretend that I'm somebody Asian. It's the same fucking thing. It's disgusting. We don't want Hollywood to whitewash our actors and our characters, right? I don't want some Japanese person blackfacing themselves and thinking it's cool. No, don't. So, you know, yeah. Anyway, listen, guys, I want to know your thoughts. Sabura Kimura, blindly ignorant, blatantly ignorant, maybe racist himself. Who knows? I look at them the same thing. Educate yourself, Kimura. Okay? Educate yourself, please. Because I can tell you much right now, if you continue to go on and do stuff like this in the future, this will pop up again. I'm not going to be the one that, again, I'm not trying to cancel the man, right? I'm not out here saying, fire this dude, right? No, educate him. Educate him. Damn. I hate that I got to be the person to do that. And I think, honestly, the Black tokusatsu community, you need to speak up to. If you want to watch the show, to each their own. I'm not going to shit on somebody if they want to watch Kamen Rider Revice. I just know where my moral integrity is. I know where I stand in regards to it. And I personally don't want to watch the show. And after this episode, I don't want to give Kamen Rider Revice the time of day on my platform to promote something that clearly has no problem in really adding to the racial commentary of blackface. I just, whatever. But guys, I want to know your thoughts. I tend to go on rants and just be 100% honest with you and how it hits me. And if you guys are offended by how it hits me, I do not mind standing up for myself and what I certainly believe is right. You don't have to necessarily agree with me. I hope you respect my point of view based off of the fact that I was literally raised by a Black mother, a Black grandparents, aunts and uncles on one side of my family. I can't turn my eye to this. And somebody needs to talk about it. Somebody needs to educate the tokusatsu community in some way or another. Because if I don't, who will? You know what I'm saying? Hawkalees, thank you, Hawkalees, for at least bringing this to our attention. I saw he did a video in regards to the controversy as well. Not even a Black man, and at least using his platform to understand and showcase the derogatory and disgusting aspects of what Sabura Kimura actually did. And I hope that other people in the tokusatsu community talk up about it, whether you're Black or not. Bring it to people's attention and awareness, because stuff like this is not okay. It is not okay. And the moment we make it okay and turn a blind eye and don't say anything at all is when things start becoming more socially acceptable and okay. And I'm not trying to bring that type of shit back here in our culture and our time place that we're in these days. You would think 200 years since this shit started, we've learned something. But clearly some people don't want to learn their own history or the history of others. And I think it's a fucking shame. And just to say, oh, I didn't know, maybe he didn't know. How do you not fucking know what blackface represents? And honestly, even if you honestly don't know that there's racist connotations towards it, do yourself a favor and fucking Google. You're a grown man or woman. You've got fingers. You know how the internet works. Look it up. There's no reason why people shouldn't understand what the big fucking deal is anymore. Anyway, I'm done. So Kamen Rider Revice, again, we'll keep you guys posted if we review it or not. I'll talk to the guys. I'm pretty firm, at least on my show here, every Saturday live at noon. I'm not talking about Revice anymore, guys. I'm not. And if you feel some type of way, feel free to. I don't give a fuck. It's my channel. So anyway, all right, guys. I am curious to know what you guys think, though. Look, we're like 2 hours in. How long did I rant for? Like 30 minutes? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but this shit makes me angry. It makes me angry. Ugh, fucking makes me angry. Speaking of which, we will talk more Kamen Rider at least, okay? But I am kind of curious to see what you guys kind of say. I do want to see what you guys kind of say. So let's dive into this. And I will put up the Kamen Rider Revice thing because I am kind of curious as to what you guys are saying. Doomsday. Black people assemble. Yeah, Jerry says, look, I get people are upset about the whole racism thing. If you watch Revice or buy the merchandise, doesn't make you racist. It's sad that this had to be said. Yeah, it doesn't make you racist. It doesn't make you racist. But what I will say is to blatantly ignore what's happening, to not say something about it, or maybe some people don't know what to say or don't necessarily feel comfortable in saying, that's fine. If you watch the show, it doesn't make you racist. Everybody's going to handle things absolutely differently. I'm just not going to support it. Like, I'm personally not going to hold anything against people that do decide to watch it. But there's no way in the world that I'm going to give them the time of day and the platform outside of this episode to promote that stuff, because I'm not okay with it. Quick shout out to Sam for popping in here. Thank you very much, Sam. I appreciate you guys coming through. Doomsday says this Kamen Rider Revice thing looks pretty dope. Yeah, the concept, the design looks pretty dope. I do love the storyline aspects, and I'm bummed, man. Like, I'm fucking bummed because I can't lie. I wanted to watch Revice. I'm fucking bummed. I wanted to watch it. Enrique says in the press conference, there's going to be a trailer for the new Kamen Rider Revice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there probably will be. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll watch the trailer for sure. I am kind of curious. AJ says that's messed up. This is 2021 and people are still assholes to others. Sadly, yes. Sadly. Adam Perez says, wasn't Robert Downey Jr. blackface in Tropic Thunder unless he did it in a not disrespectful way? Yes, he did do it in Tropic Thunder. Very comedic, to say the least. But again, I do wonder if I wouldn't be surprised if there was still backlash from what Robert Downey Jr. did then. Nobody canceled his ass back then either. But sometimes I think there are certain things in our culture that people might have gotten way too fucking comfortable with that they shouldn't have. It's a case of people forgetting history. Which is unbelievable. What do they always say, right? If you don't know your history, you're failed to repeat it. Yeah, guys, learn your fucking history, or we will continue to go back to the days of segregation and treating people like non-human beings. I mean, shit, we kind of see remnants of that shit boiling up already. Marcelino says this still happens in anime. One Punch Man's only black character resembles the blackface stereotype. And if anything, too, again, it feels like it is prevalent when it comes to Japanese culture. Like it is something that the Japanese culture clearly have a disregard for or a misunderstanding as to what it certainly relates. Because yeah, it does tend to happen in anime, and it definitely still happens in live action to some degree. I literally just read an article that there was like a Black Lives Matter in Tokyo or something like that was upset that somebody did blackface back in like 2018 or some shit like that. I'll have to find the article again, but it's a clearly yeah. TL Savage, appreciate you bringing this. Says, I don't think most people have been sweeping it under the rug. I've been seeing people talk about it and why Kimura is wrong for it since the night of. I've been talking about it. Yeah, I definitely have seen some people talking about it. Again, I'm not talking about everybody sweeping it under the rug, but I'm sure that there are, like, while there are people talking about it, just look at their reply list. There are some people that completely are trying to ignore it or don't see the big deal. Those are the people that I'm certainly referring to, TL Savage. He says, I'm still going to watch Revice, but I can never support Kimura. And I get that. I think for me, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that concept, right? And here's why. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel that way, TL Savage, that's fine. You guys continue to watch the show if you certainly want to. The reason why I don't is because of the fact that it's not like he's like an inanimate object, right? The guy's literally, even though he's going to be the voice actor, he's literally representing the second Kamen Rider on this show. So for me, the idea of supporting the show shows me that I'm going to continue. That's a form of supporting Kimura, to me at least. Again, that's just my own ideology. I'm not pushing my beliefs on anybody else. If you don't feel that way, that's more than fine. But in the grand scheme of things, anytime we see the Kamen Riders on screen, that's Kimura. That's Kimura's voice that's going to be talking to us. That's going to be representing the second main character on the show. So for me, it's hard to wrap my head around the idea of, I'll watch it, but I don't want to support him. It's still support to me. But that's just me. That's me. Frank said, no said bad word, YouTube. Yeah, I dropped a couple of F-bombs. Definitely not for kids. That's why I put that disclaimer. Now Ultra says, you do you, Adam. It's fine if you don't review it. I've heard the actor block people for mentioning this. It's disappointing. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I've heard also too that anybody that's brought it to his attention, he's just blocked and just completely ignored. So he clearly doesn't find a problem with it. And if he doesn't have a problem with it, then you know what? I got a problem with him then. And my problem is I don't want to support you. Doomsday says, I really don't blame Adam for saying this much F words. And I'm sorry, guys. If I am cursing too much, I do apologize. But sometimes that's the type of stuff that boils me, S. Karoma, thank you very much for certainly coming through. I'm black, Japanese black tennis females player. Oh, thank you for coming through, S. Karoma. I appreciate you coming in today. Raphael, thank you very much, Raphael, for certainly joining us. A little off turn, but is Izzy your favorite Ranger? This season, she's up there. She's up there for sure. I don't know if she's my favorite. I might have to do a countdown again for like my favorite characters this season. Jay, he's like, I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna let him stop me from supporting the rest of the massive crew and people are involved. You're absolutely right, Jay. I understand that. I understand that. There are a lot of people that are part of this cast and crew that aren't Sabura, that have worked hard to make this season remarkable. And I think the writer in here, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that the writer just absolutely kills it. And I hope that there are some people out there that certainly enjoy this season. But for me, again, this is just me. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. Adam says, is this the same thing to why we don't have Asian Red Rangers in Power Rangers, or is this totally different? Not wanting an Asian actor on Power Rangers to make fun of Japanese people in Super Sentai. No, I look at this as completely different. I will say not wanting an Asian actor on Power Rangers. I don't think it's the idea of because they want to make fun of Japanese people. No, I don't think that's it at all. I think Saban, if anything, Saban's got his own issues also, but the idea of, I think if anything, Samurai, it probably would have been the best opportunity to use an Asian actor. But again, I don't see this as the same thing as, I just think if anything, it's the idea of not giving an Asian actor an opportunity, that they certainly should have deserved to have at some particular point in time. Because I don't think if Power Rangers does have a lead Asian actor, it's definitely not going to be in the sense of making fun or trying to make somebody, pretend to be something that they're not, so I look at it significantly different. What he did was certainly mock an entire culture when blackface is based off of segregation, degrading an entire race of people to bolster the stereotypes of them as lazy and aggressive and, just it represents something completely different. Yes, while there is whitewashing in Hollywood, I think if anything, it's a more of an opportunistic thing that I'm hoping that Hollywood and other production companies, especially that we're in today, are trying to change. Whereas this is more or less a blatant ignorance, not addressing it, ignoring it, While Hollywood and production companies have a long way to go, you can see that things are changing a little bit. More opportunities are becoming available. But yeah, guys. All right. Well, to each their own. But if you feel a certain type of way about it, guys, you should talk about it. You should bring it up. You should provide awareness for people out there and educate. Not necessarily, I'm not one to kind of bash people. But if anything, I think it's an education thing that I think is what a lot of people are missing in regards to that. But anyway, I will be moving on. All right, guys, with that out of the way, I do got 2 more topics left. This show might run a little bit longer than I personally even wanted to myself. I knew I was going to go on a rant, but I didn't expect it to go on that much of a rant. You know what I mean? But I will bring up the next topic for you guys. And that will be in regards to Kamen Rider once again. As we know, that Kamen Rider is trying to make us transition over to international markets. And one of those upcoming Kamen Rider projects that they're really hoping certainly does that is their upcoming animated series in Kamen Rider Fuuto P, if I'm not mistaken, Fuuto P. Well, this week they had the opportunity to actually talk with the executive producers over at Toei, and really in regards to what this means just for the franchise and how they want to go ahead and tackle the sequel to Kamen Rider W in this upcoming Fuuto P. So let's go ahead and dive into this particular article with you guys today. Let me go ahead and pull this up here, make sure I'm getting the right one. This website, otaquest.com. Never heard of it, but Tokusatsu Network actually got their article from this interview here. How the hell did my dog get in here? Has she been in here the whole time? Oh, sorry. I was like, I'm pretty sure how did my dog get into here? But let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. So it says Toei talks about Kamen Rider W's creation and Kamen Rider Fuuto P as a second chance for the franchise internationally. This was from the Annecy Film Festival that they wind up having this year. I will scroll down a little bit. Make sure that I'm getting this at the right spot. Okay, here we go. This unleashed potential, so to speak. Okay, so it says, I think it's big that Fuuto Pi is being published in a weekly young adult magazine because we can now do things that we couldn't do before when it was made for a TV show for children. I could write about crimes that I wouldn't be able to if they were on a TV program. I have a lot more variation of types of crimes that I can talk about too. And I don't think about the budget for filming special effects. I can write a lot of scenes that would probably require a lot of money in CG that if it was a TV show. This unleashed potential, so to speak, goes beyond Sanjo's screenwriting, as much of the staff as possible has been brought into Fuuto Pi project for manga, with many making the jump to the upcoming anime that this Kamen Rider Annecy panel was discussing. It says Kamen Rider has typically been a franchise that has stayed in Japan with a few exceptions. But between a new anime and reaching out through events like the Annecy Film Festival, they're hoping to change that. To them, anime has the potential to bring Kamen Rider to international audiences in ways that previous attempts to bring the series into English have failed, a la Masked Rider, maybe even Dragonite to a certain extent. Animation is strong because you can export it overseas without altering anything. I've had several of my manga translated overseas before, but animation is an even easier to export and expand. So I'm excited about that, noting the differences between the vastly different international fortunes of Super Sentai and its English localization in Power Rangers. It says to some countries, we export Japanese shows just the way they are, but in English-speaking countries, they have been localized versions. They're quite popular, and people around the world know of Power Rangers. In the past, Kamen Rider has had a chance to be marketed overseas too, but the plan wasn't as successful as a worldwide scale as it was with Power Rangers. We want a global audience to know here's a hero called Kamen Rider created 50 years ago, even before the original Super Sentai. Animation is a form of media that connects us directly with fans across the globe. So I think this is a very important opportunity as it gives us the chance to reintroduce Kamen Rider to the world. And that's the ultimate goal, the article says, of Kamen Rider Fuuto P. While the series differs from traditional Kamen Rider and tokusatsu by targeting a slightly older audience and being an animation, it could prove to be a stepping stone to bringing new people into the franchise for the first time. For all its differences, the manga and upcoming anime adaptation have been created as Toku series first and foremost. So really cool article. Again, continuing to show why it is that they push, they're going to be pushing for Fuuto P to go ahead and actually be the front runner to getting Kamen Rider back out there internationally. And I think it's a brilliant move. I truly do. You know, I think animation is a fantastic realm to be able to bring franchises and markets over here to the state that people just eat up. We know that Funimation has, in fact, partnered with Toei to go ahead and bring Kamen Rider Fuuto P over to us. So we definitely will be getting that here in the States. I'm assuming, if anything, maybe, I don't know if it's something that's going to be like simulcast or whatever the case may be. But it's a great first step, to say the least. And if anything, I do hope that this does go forth and bring forward maybe another sort of attempt to, I don't want to say Americanize it, but maybe bring it here into the States. You know, they've also talked about the idea that when it comes to, they do have a movie coming out, Shin Kamen Rider, that they're going to be working on also. I don't know if that's going to be released internationally or just in the States, but I do find it interesting that like a company like Toei over the past couple of weeks has garnered some attention in, you know, US US markets like Variety and Deadline and things like that. It definitely feels as though Toei is trying to extend their hand to more international markets so that fans who aren't familiar with their franchises and work can get that opportunity, because I do think Kamen Rider does have a lot of untapped potential. Yes, while it certainly failed here in the States, you also have to understand, I mean, it failed nearly around the same time that we had such huge success with Power Rangers, where Power Rangers kind of overtook that realm so much that it was kind of hard to really make anything else outside of that successful. Maybe a reason why VR Troopers didn't stick around very long. Masked Rider didn't get the full opportunity that it did. Power Rangers probably really overshadowed a lot of the development for Kamen Rider and other franchises that they tried to bring over, like Metal Heroes and things like that. So, but that, with that being such a long time ago, when it comes to Kamen Rider, now is probably the perfect opportunity. When I think of this, I think of the current Ultraman Trigger series that we have. The idea that they're doing simulcasting on their YouTube page. The first episode got 1.8 or 1.9 million viewers as of yesterday. Episode 2 had 1.1 million viewers as of yesterday as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if episode 3 winds up breaking 1 million, or maybe coming just slightly under 1 million, if you will. But we'll see what happens in the next week or so. Clearly, there is a fan base out there that certainly wants to be able to watch it. And even though I know Ultraman is not part of Toei, I think it's through Subaraya Productions, it is a blueprint. It is a blueprint for Toei to certainly jump on board if they want to. Maybe they'll do that in the realm of animation. But I think the fact that a Fuuto P and the idea of Kamen Rider W being sort of a non-traditional Kamen Rider show, it clearly seems as though it's got crime drama, detective elements sort of involved, mixed in with the tokusatsu element of a masked rider and things like that. I think that's a really cool concept and a really great way to go ahead and capture the imagination of us here in the States. Because who doesn't love a damn great crime drama, right? Or like a murder documentary or something like that, right? Where you got to put all the pieces together, but still have a cool superhero aspect towards it. While I haven't watched the manga, the fact alone that they've mentioned that they can really push the envelope that they couldn't do in live action form will probably showcase Kamen Rider in one of its much better forms in the sense of anime. So I am really eager to see what they do with this. This will be a series that I definitely will be watching and certainly supporting, maybe even doing some reviews on. Who certainly knows? We Indy on our other YouTube channel, APlus Hero Report, he's got a weekly show called Anime Assemble that he does on our channel, and he talks about everything anime that comes out that week. Also, maybe I can go ahead and twist his arm and have him review Kamen Rider Fuuto P when it winds up dropping. But we'll definitely see. It does make me want to go back and watch Kamen Rider W, but I will say this: if you want to make it international, this is the perfect opportunity right now, where things are becoming available all over the world for everybody, getting their hands on things a lot easier, untapped potential in regards to the audience. And I hope Toei just becomes a little bit more lenient. They've cracked down on fan subs and things like that, so they can really kind of control how they have their viewerships out there. And maybe this is the beginning of something beautiful when it comes to Kamen Rider here in the States, guys. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I do hope that this winds up being successful and just pushes the envelope, whether that means for more Kamen Rider animation, whether or not that means for if they see how the audience is digesting their material, maybe they will look towards the idea of simulcasting more of their live action stuff, whether that be Kamen Rider or even Super Sentai. But we'll see. But it certainly seems as though Kamen Rider is their bread and butter, what they really want to try and push on to international markets. I think the idea that Power Rangers is so prevalent and has such a hold on American audiences, the idea of introducing Super Sentai that way, I don't know how that would respond, how people will respond, but Kamen Rider, definitely a great bet for you guys, Toei. But again, watch who you promote. in some of these shows. It's all I would say. It's just watch who you promote and you put out there for the international audiences. Because again, if Tokusatsu fandom can get on you about a voice actor in one of your shows, if you make it international, you're gonna have a lot of angry people, a lot of voices. So just be better. Just be better, Toei, is all I'll ask. But outside of that, this sounds exciting to me. I really want Kamen Riders to succeed here in the States. Yeah, I'll check it out. But listen, guys, I want to know your thoughts. Do you think the idea of doing Kamen Rider animation is the good first step? It seems just a stepping stone. They clearly have other big plans. I mean, they even had, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Variety article that like literally listed for us like 3 or 4 new Kamen Rider projects that they were going to be making that's going to be leaning a little bit more towards older audiences and maybe a little bit more easily accessible for some of us as viewers to watch in the future. But I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to this upcoming sequel for Kamen Rider W. Are you excited for Toei to go ahead and get this in an international expanse for Kamen Rider? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that out of the way, we will get into our last topic of the day for you guys, one that I'm really eager to go ahead and talk about because anything Gokaiger related, I'm here for, guys. And this past week, we wound up getting ourselves a brand new Gokaiger trailer, a trailer that gave us a little bit of a glimpse. I wouldn't even call it a full trailer, more like just a little extra tease, if you will, but got the opportunity to show us not only our Gokaigers in brand new looks, but also brand new power-ups, guys. Here's the poster that continues to go around, which I absolutely love this poster for 10 Gokaiger, the upcoming 10-year anniversary or 10 years after Gokaiger special movie, if you will. But this photo alone, you guys have certainly seen Gokai Silver in his gold mode, right? Getting a power up, if you will. Here are some brand new power-ups for our Gokaigers as well. When it comes to Joe, it looks like he's got like a claw hand or something like that he can certainly utilize. It looks like he's got like 4 or 5 different claws there. And then Captain Marvelous has got like his own getup, like a Gokai Galleon sort of super mode, as he's literally wearing the ship as like a chess piece or a chest piece, which I think looks kind of cumbersome. I'll be kind of curious to see how he moves around in it, but it's a cool design to certainly say the least. So let's go ahead and dive into this, because this article comes to us from TokuNation.com. I'm going to mute this, though, real quick. It says, Toei has released a brief teaser for the upcoming Super Sentai V Cinema Project 10 Gokaiger, a revisit of the fan favorite series of Gokaiger. In addition to new power up for the Gokaiger team has been revealed, known as the Cross Armor model. This new configuration gives Gokai Red and armor based off of Gokai Galleon. I don't want to fast forward too much. Oh, but look, you get the opportunity. This is Captain Marvelous here. Homeboy's rocking a black jacket of all things. He's like thrown out his old Captain Marvelous outfit, it feels like. So he's rocking a black jacket, even got the eye patch working for him in here. You got Luca certainly coming through looking more mature, little smirk. Him having some fun with her blaster herself. Even get to see Doc out here. Oh, and I love this photo. I love this pose of Guy. I mean, I feel like people have asked me before, like, Adam, out of the characters in Gokaiger, like, who are you most excited for to see in this movie? It's Guy. I think the transition of his character and what he looks like now outside of Captain Marvelous really fascinates me, because it feels as though Gone is the fanboy. I'm hoping there's some elements of the fanboy there, but gone are the days of just kissing ass and sucking up to every new Super Sentai that you see. He's fully fledged and now a space pirate, and he's got the long hair, the cool vibe to go ahead and harness it. The swag on this man as he grabs this trident, guys. I mean, looks incredible. and getting to see everybody else. I love this photo. I love this video. I mean, look, he's also even wearing his Captain Marvel is also wearing his classic Pirates jacket. I'm wondering if this is going to be a flashback or maybe a prologue to kind of open up the movie, see the battle that maybe took place, that perhaps maybe took his eye from him, and what kind of comes of it. But yeah, that's the trailer for you guys. But yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I'm really excited for it. This was a great trailer. Brief action too. It looks like he's facing off against. Is that Joe facing off against Captain Marvelous, who's transformed into Aka Ranger there? I don't know. But there's definitely a lot of different Super Sentai that pop up in here. How they even come into, like, how they're fighting each other or what goes down, that I don't know. But I'm excited for it, guys. And I certainly hope that you guys are too. When you check out this trailer, what certainly stands out to you? Is there a particular character that you're really looking forward to? I really would love to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. But yeah, 10 Gokaiger. Let me see if it does say that the 10 Gokaiger, I believe, is supposed to be released this fall in V Cinemas, but it won't be released, I think, until March of 2022 in regards to like Blu-ray and DVD. So hopefully we can get ourselves some sort of fan sub way before March. We'll see what happens. But regardless, once this movie drops, once we have access to it in regards to English subs, we'll definitely go ahead and do a review for you guys, to certainly say the least. But what do you guys think about some of the power-ups and some of the footage that you guys have seen? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. AJ says, guy looks like he's gotten taller. Possibly. I don't know how much more growing he's got to do at his age, but maybe he's just wearing some lifts. You know what I'm saying? Enrique says, are the Gokaigers going to face a new villain to summon the past Sentais with the new ones? Possibly. I would be interested to see how that works out, whether we get new villains or some of our old villains wind up returning. The fact alone that we see Gokaigers facing off against other Super Sentai heroes, I'm wondering what's going on there. Are they fighting amongst themselves and they're changing into different powers? I don't know. Doomsday says, let's make it extremely showy. Yeah, I'm not expecting anything less. Not expecting anything less. Marcelino says Masked Rider was canceled because it was trash. VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs were canceled because they used too much Japanese footage and eventually ran out. See the importance of original footage, guys. Neo the Fall. What's up, Neo? Appreciate you coming through. He says, wait, did you say watch the manga? No, read the manga, watch the anime, because the manga is being adapted into anime. AJ says my birthday was this past Thursday. Happy birthday, AJ. Happy welcome to the 27-year-old club. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, if anything, we will go ahead and start getting into Nado. Yeah, I'll get into your guys' live viewer questions now. Nado says Jonathan Entwistle leaving Willow. Yes, from what I heard, Nado, I think you might have sent me the the link to it. I can't remember, but yes, Jonathan Entwistle has left Willow. Somebody else has come on board to, I believe, be the director for. I think he was only literally supposed to direct the first episode of the new Willow series that they're going to be doing for Disney Plus. So I think he stepped away from that because Jonathan Entwistle does have a busy schedule. Yes, while he is putting a lot of his hard-earned time in regards to creating an entire Power Ranger interconnected universe here, he also does have a APlus series that he's going to be working on, like a 10 episode series or 10 episodes first season that he's going to be working on and directing and things like that. He might be the showrunner. I'm not quite sure. So the idea of him taking his name out of Willow doesn't surprise me. If anything, I think it just probably makes his schedule a little bit lighter. Not to say that he doesn't have a lot of projects on his belt. He's got at least 2 or 3 that he's already working on top of what he was supposed to do with Willow. But if anything, I think this just shores up maybe a little bit more of his time throughout the week. One less thing that he's got to worry about having his schedule so packed. And trust me, it's not out of the norm that you have some of these creators, like writers and directors, have more than one project on their plate. It's not out of the realm of it's not anything new or different. It happens all the time. So you shouldn't be worried if Jonathan Entwistle has other projects that he's going to be tackling as well. So. Let's see here. All right, guys. With that out of the way, we will go ahead and dive into your live viewer questions. Not sure how many I have, but let's see. All right, Jessica Friedman. Is Power Rangers Dino Fury going to continue to air on Nick? And would you like to see a crossover between Power Rangers and Superman or Supergirl? I think they had a Power Ranger Justice League crossover at one point in time. I didn't read it, but so I think it might have already happened. I could be wrong though. Let me just Google that because I want to say Power Rangers. Yes, there was a Justice League and Power Ranger between DC Comics and Boom Studios back in 2017, written by Tom Taylor, who is a fantastic writer, mind you. I haven't read this, but I may go back and check this out. But yeah, there is while it's not necessarily Superman or Supergirl, there is a crossover comic of Power Rangers and Justice League, just so you know. Will Dino Fury continue to air on Nickelodeon? I wouldn't be surprised if they are. Whether or not they are going to be showcasing us brand new episodes there first or on Netflix, regardless, I still think that Nick will probably get the episodes 9 through 11 that we got on Netflix already and maybe air there. So I'm still expecting it to air on Nick. Whether or not they air on Nick as new episodes or not, that I'm not quite sure of. Power Rangers Legacy. What Super Sentai series have you not watched before and really want to? Ooh, Time Rangers up there, Decker Rangers up there. A part of me wants to go back to Zoo Ranger to see what Mighty Morphin was adapted from. There's quite a few. What were your expectations when Ninja Steel was announced as the 24th, 25th season of the franchise? I didn't really have high expectations for Ninja Steel except for just be better than Ninja. And sadly, they couldn't do that. So definitely bummed. But that's the only expectation I had was, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before on camera, like there's no way that a Power Ranger season could not be better than Ninja. And I fooled myself. If Jason, Zach, Trini never left the show, how do you think the show would have gone and would have transitioned to Zeo? I think it probably would have transitioned the same way, just with our characters still there. Um, it would have been an interesting dynamic. I feel like if anything, I really would have liked to have seen. I wonder if it would have added more added tension to Jason and Tommy on the show. Just naturally, the idea of, them both being strong-headed leaders to a certain extent, right? Like some of the pushback that we see in the comics definitely makes me think that maybe we would have seen some of that in regards to Power Rangers. Like I almost wonder if the dynamic of keeping Jason, Zach, and Trini around, if that would have eventually have maybe even led to somebody like Tommy, maybe even turning evil again. While they worked just fine, I felt like for the most part as partners, when he was the Green Ranger and Jason was the Red Ranger. If they stayed around and things started changing, the introduction of the White Ranger and stuff, right? I really would have liked to have seen how the dynamic between Jason and Tommy would have changed over time. If they would have just either grown closer as friends or maybe some built up animosity from Jason's side to Tommy or from Tommy's side to Jason, not letting the other fully be the leader that they are capable of because of the fact that they're such two strong characters. You know what I mean? Would the bromance have survived, or would one of them have a different mindset towards it? That's something I really would have liked to have seen. If that potentially would have happened, maybe that would have led Tommy to a Lord Draken type of thing. You know what I mean? Granted, back in the 90s, they didn't have this type of mindset, right? I'm just playing with the idea of knowing what we know now after all these years and what we've seen in the comics. How could things have changed differently of Jason, Zach, and Trini? That's a what if comic book I would love to see Ryan Parrott tackle one day. Great question, Legacy. Adam Perea, he says, what are some of your favorite power-ups or battleizers in Power Rangers and Super Sentai history? Super Sentai for me, definitely the red Max Real Soul. It looks fucking incredible, guys. It looks incredible. I really would like to see that. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Kara Major power up. But for me, I think the most impressive one for me that I had seen was pretty recent in the Real Soldier, Max Real Soul Red, which I cannot wait to see it actually get adapted into Dino Fury. I've seen some pretty cool ones. Mystic Force had a pretty cool battleizer. I was a really big fan of. I can't recall the names of it. I just remember the shows that I remember watching it in. I actually didn't even mind the one from Lost Galaxy 2 that Leo had. Was that the one with the wings, if I'm not mistaken? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I thought Lost Galaxies was pretty legit, along with Mystic Forces also. So I'm sure there's plenty other ones that out there too that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But they do have some. I don't mind them so much. Sometimes they can look a little bit bulky, over the top, right? Cumbersome. But sometimes they really, really nail it. You also ask, how do you like Zenkaiger so far? Is it up there as one of the best anniversary / Sentai seasons, or a big what the F? How do I like Zenkaiger so far? Zenkaiger is a mixed bag for me. In regards to it being an anniversary season, I do enjoy it in that regards. I mean, the idea of very early on getting us to see all the Megazords that we did, I thought was pretty cool. Seeing how some of the gears are utilized, really cool callback to the anniversaries and stuff. So I think anniversary wise, it's doing a great job in regards to paying homage and a tip to the cap to the past Super Sentai. As far as a Sentai season goes, it's a little bit of a WTF, to me. The season's a mixed bag. There are moments where the comedy really hits for me, where I have a deep appreciation for um the witty banter and the chaoticness of it, like the ADHD sort of mentality. I feel like, oh, let's do this, but then we go, well, let's do this, and then, oh, we got to go do this. It pull you both ways. It can be all over the place sometimes. There's some times where the episodes are just meaningless, where you've got other characters carrying on storylines that should be carried on by other characters, like the idea that Stacy is the one that's, pushing the storyline of Kaido's parents more than Kaido is. It almost feels like Kaido's lost his determination and reasoning for doing what he's doing. There was an episode, the sushi episode, where I never seen this guy so pumped or so motivated to not only get into the Toji Tendo base and have words with the Toji Tendo, but also discover the truth about his parents. And 20 episodes in, it's like homeboy's completely forgot his own motivations, his own purpose outside of, I want to be the first team to do a first of something, right? Like, that's okay, that's cool, I guess. But the fact that Stacy's pushing Kaido's storyline makes me scratch my head a little bit. But I like, there are aspects of the series I like. I like the Stacy storyline. I think he sucks as Stacy's are. Clearly a lover, not a fighter. Two Kaiser's been a really cool addition. Absolutely loved it. But again, it feels more or less a season that wants to push toys over content quality, if anything. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with that. If the toys are selling, that's great. It's doing its job. But as far as like it being an ultimate season that I'm a big fan of, it's a mixed bag. I have my feelings about it. Each and every week it can change, you know what I mean? It just hasn't been as consistent or as enjoyable as I want to. But I feel like sometimes that happens when it comes to Kamen Rider or Super Sentai. I feel like Super Sentai, you get a really focused season, great characters and story development, a la Kira Major, and then the next season usually tends to drop in quality, where it all of a sudden tends to become like a balance of, okay, now that we got that serious or at least that really good quality story Sentai out there, now we can be a little bit lazy, give it a little bit more surface level quality, right? Nothing to dig too deep into. What you see is what you get, but let's highlight the toys and make it bombastic with the costume designs and the action to appeal to those toy sales to maybe counterbalance each season. And I feel like it tends to go back and forth like that. Like next season, I don't know what the adaptation is going to be, but I almost feel like I almost wonder if the idea of them pumping out Super Sentai seasons every year does hinder the quality of each Sentai season that you put forth. And so like a part of me almost expects that next season Super Sentai might be a season that I'm fully invested in, because it's had that time to formulate a story and have something that it's worth thinking about. So again, to each their own. If you love Zenkaiger, I'm not trying to crap on your enjoyment of Zenkaiger. Each season just speaks to people differently. That's the art form of television and movies. It's meant to be subjective. It's meant to hit people differently. So if you enjoy it, more power to you. There are enjoyable aspects of Zenkaiger that even myself, I get a kick out of. But I'm not the type of person to keep my mouth shut when an episode sucks and I think an episode sucks. So for me, it's a mixed bag. It's definitely been a mixed bag. Do you like that in Beast Morphers during the grid connection crossover we Megazords, even though it was all Sentai footage? And do you wish we got an original Megazord battle in Forever Red, though would have been too expensive, which is why we got the Wild Force Rider as the way to end the Serpentera? I'm okay with the idea of them not having giving us original Megazord footage for Forever Red. I'm okay with that. When it comes to Beast Morphers, though, I wasn't a fan of the Megazord battle. I know it was big and bombastic, but the special effects, I don't necessarily felt held up really well from that Go Buster, Gokaiger, Kyoryuger. Was that it? Was that what that, like the triple threat match Super Sentai movie that we wind up getting? I didn't like how it was utilized in it. I can see why they wanted to utilize it, but I just think special effects wise, it didn't hold up, and it kind of took me out of it a little bit. So I wish that either we didn't get a Megazord battle at all, or something more original. I almost feel like the original footage might have even looked better than what they took from that Super Sentai movie. So no, I wasn't a fan of it. I kind of wish that they did more original footage. Whether that means give, Austin St. John more original footage to show him fighting. Now that he was back, I would have taken that over what we got in that little bit of a mess of a Megazord battle. Johnny Marrero, get him a body bag. Yeah. He comes through. What's up, Johnny? Hey, Adam, got 2 questions. Will Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers get their own deluxe hardcover edition next year? I would expect them to. I don't know how many episodes that they will. Oh, Trent, thanks, Trent, for coming through. He says, newsflash for you guys of you in the fashion world. Violet and amber are this year's fashion colors. Okay, I'll remember that. But going back to your question, Johnny, I feel like maybe after they've, I don't know how many issues they usually put in a deluxe hardcover. Maybe from like issue 1 all the way up to whatever the next crossover event's going to be. Maybe we'll get something like that. I expect it to. If not a deluxe hardcover, then maybe at least some sort of trade, like paperback, some sort of trade, a collection of some sort. Whether, I don't know if it's going to be deluxe hardcover or not, but they definitely will put them together in some sort of collection. Once we get new Power Ranger content in 2023 or 2024, do you think we could see a Pink Ranger series as a teen drama similar to Smallville, Boy Meets World, The Wonder Years, and Beverly Hills 90210? What's the acronyms? HSMTMTS. I don't know what that one stands for, though. That's a long ass acronym. I can see why you shortened it, though, if it's that many words into the title of something was like How I Met Your Mother, but no, that's definitely not it. Do I think we could get a Pink Ranger series? That's a fascinating concept. I will say this. I don't think so. Just because of the fact that we could, but I always think like if you're going to do that, Pink has to be like the lead female of your team. And I honestly am leaning towards the idea of Red being the lead female of our team. Not to say that there's not going to be another Pink female, but I almost think that if that's the case, I think it's going to be more Red female centric than anything else. So you would probably want to make it around the Red Ranger, but if you're going to do that, you might as well just make it a Power Ranger show altogether. You know what I mean? So no, I don't think it'll be. I like the other shows that we get, like the brand, like Boy Meets World and stuff. That's more sitcom-y. Smallville, Wonder Years, that's that feels a little bit more drama related, in regards to how it's presented, the format, right? Boy Meets World is more sitcom-y, 30 minutes type of thing here, whereas you got Smallville, Wonder Years, Beverly Hills, all that stuff was like 45-minute format, long episode format. I think that's what Power Rangers will more likely turn out to look like. I don't know if it's going to be that teen drama driven. I mean, it might be. But yeah, I would lean more towards that. So no, I don't think necessarily just a Pink Ranger series. I think maybe Power Rangers itself will turn into something like that. AJ's got a couple questions. He says, why do you think Power Rangers after Turbo all the way to RPM was so good, excluding Overdrive for many people? Do you think either Saban was more willing to spend money, or because we actually had writers who cared about making a quality show, not just for kids, but for adults too? Maybe Saban back in the day might have been willing to spend a little bit more money, when you tackle other things like in space and whatnot, maybe. But I think it does go a long way. Again, outside of Saban, a lot of that is sort of Disney driven, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did put more money towards it. And we have heard, I feel like, from Disney writers that seemingly have had a much different ideology about how you tackle the writing, especially when you're writing towards children's, right? The idea of not making them feel like idiots. And I think that mentality really went a long way of them pushing the envelope in some of their stories, fresh takes, fresh ideas, fresh concepts and stuff that made it really appealing. So I think it's Disney putting forth a little bit more money and just the writer's mentality. While Kendall and Dino Charge was our first female Purple Ranger, and she was a cutie too, man. Do you think she wasn't really used as a Ranger? She never got to pilot her own Zord. Instead, Tyler kept stealing it, even though the cockpit is all original footage. I would have loved to have more shine with Kendall, honestly. Whether that have been her Power Ranger form or not, I really enjoyed her role in Dino Charge and wanted to see more of her. Easy on the eyes, great character, I thought. The idea of a female Purple Ranger is something that always appealed to me. The idea of having a Purple Ranger in general, I thought should have been utilized even more than what it was. But again, that's the trouble that you run into when you've got a Super Sentai team that's so massively large. And writers that don't necessarily know how to handle a big ensemble cast to kind of give people more shine, because Kendall should have gotten more shine. And I love the fact that she still loves being considered a Power Ranger and being a part of the fandom. If anybody from Dino Charge certainly would be brought back, I definitely would love to see either Tyler. I would love to see Kendall for sure, and even the character Shelby. I would love to see them pop back up again. As you read this, we may have already talked about Toei celebrating 70 years of Kamen Rider, or 50 years of Kamen Rider, 70 years as a company. Does that mean there's a chance Hasbro and Toei may not split, meaning Power Rangers in the future would still use Super Sentai footage, even if it's just by a little, like how Dino Fury has been using so far? And which Sentai do you think we might be leaning on getting after Dino Fury if the TV series continues right away? So to answer your last question, if Super Sentai footage is certainly continued to be used, what do I think? Where am I leaning in regards to what we might get after Dino Fury? I'm still, I feel like a part of me has been leaning more and more towards Kara Major, guys. Something really attracts me to the idea of that being utilized as like a Zeo sort of connection series if we want to. Heck, I would even take the newest space season that they had. What was it, the Cure Ranger? I would love to see that happen again. It'd be more like a in space sort of thing, celebration. But again, I think when it comes to Q Ranger, the idea of having such a massive cast, you would have to tell this, like, you would have to bring somebody on board that can handle a big group, because you definitely want everybody to get that opportunity to shine. You know what I mean? And as far as the, Hasbro congratulating and celebrating Toei, again, that celebration message or that congratulatory message, I don't think solidifies or confirms anything specifically. I think if anything, it probably just strengthens the debate or argument from either side, however you want to look into, however you want to read what the congratulatory actually ended up saying. I don't see it that way. I just literally see this as Hasbro congratulating Toei for 70 effing years, which is an incredible feat for any production studio to have to achieve. And the fact that Paramount, WB, Funimation, all these other big studio companies have done the same thing lets me think that it's just meant to be what it's meant to be, and that's congratulating them. I mean, is there a chance? There's always a chance that the split is happening. And when I say split, again, I don't necessarily mean split as in these two companies can't stand each other and want nothing to do with each other. They probably work just fine together. But maybe there are some liberties and some freedom that Hasbro wants with the Power Ranger property that Toei's okay with, that maybe Toei wants some freedom for their Super Sentai series to be able to do other things that they maybe in the past couldn't do. You know what I mean? So I think there's a world where Hasbro and Toei split and do their own thing, right? And I also think there's a world where Hasbro and Toei still work together, but just do not use Super Sentai footage anymore because Power Rangers wants to become something a little bit more original. You know what I mean? So I think there's a world where both can certainly happen. But again, when you tell me what Hasbro was creating with Jonathan Entwistle, rebooting, reimagining, making a series of not only non-kid television shows, but a movie and an animated series that's meant to be all connected together. Um, it's a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of still needing Super Sentai footage for that, to have to rely on Toei for that type of stuff. So I guess my big world and big plan appeal for what Hasbro has in mind for Power Rangers, again, this is just me specifically. I don't see Toei fitting into that in that way. But again, they certainly could still work together, just no Sentai footage where they could simply part ways. We'll see what happens, though. We haven't gotten confirmation of anything. Okay. If people tell you something's been confirmed, I wouldn't say anything's been confirmed, but I do think that there are at least things out there in the world that have been said by Hasbro, announcements that have been made, some of the moves Hasbro have certainly made that points to why this is at least a possibility from happening. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. The future continues to unfold when it comes to Power Rangers, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it to see what they create for us. Doomsday says, what do you think made Gokaiger one of the best, if not the best, anniversary Sentai seasons? I guess for me, one, the cameos. The fact that they managed to get at least a cameo from every Super Sentai season to kind of come back and have a integral role for our Gokaigers, I thought was really impactful and really went a long way, because it's not so much the idea of like, hey, look who's here, right? But it's the idea of these past Super Sentai cameos acknowledging the Gokaiger team and learning something from that team and understanding why they're capable of pushing forward with the legacy of Super Sentai, but also at the same time our Sentai teams learning something from their Sentai counterparts, seeing how the Gokaiger team changed, evolved. Somebody like Captain Marvelous's mindset and how he looks at Earth, right? The idea of protecting these people, how he looks at his teammates and stuff. Make no mistake, his interactions and his storylines throughout this entire season and his meetings of other Sentai teams and their leaders all play an integral role in how that Gokaiger team is formed and their mindset as we wind up getting towards that finale. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was great to just try and see our Gokaigers have to actually earn the trust of our past Super Sentai teams, be able to get these particular grand powers and how they utilize it. And the fact that we got to see some amazing showy fight choreography and amazing personalities and stuff just really put it over the top for me when it comes to Gokaiger. Is one of my favorite anniversary seasons. I just feel like they just did a really good job of balancing it all, our Gokaiger characters, but also paying homage to the past that came before them and the lessons that are in fact sort of learned by everybody in each episode. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's one of the best for me, at least. Do you feel like Doc has not changed at all since the last episode of Gokaiger? We'll see. I haven't seen too much of him since then. We'll see if he's changed or not, or whatnot. Like, if anything, I think, watching the series itself from beginning to end, Doc has always had this hesitancy idea, the shy and awkwardness about him, this non-belief in himself. But I think as the season progresses, you do see that confidence build a little bit. Homeboy's always going to be clumsy, right? But I think Doc will always grow, and he's definitely gained a little bit of confidence in himself. We'll see how his confidence has built in the past 10 years, though. I haven't seen him since his time really in the last Gokaiger was a Gokaiger Go Buster movie review that we did. I think that was the last time that I wind up seeing him. How do you feel about the possibility of Joe blasting out Captain Marvelous's eye, resulting of the eye patch? Oh, you think it was Joe that shot him? I would wonder why, first and foremost. I mean, based off of Joe and Captain Marvelous's relationship that we've seen, the freedom that Captain Marvelous offered to Joe in regards to getting away from the Zanyak and having a life of his own and establishing him as, his freedom and things like that. There was a lot that Joe certainly owed to Captain Marvelous, and they've always had such close ties with one another in this past season, seeing them save each other's ass on countless occasions, right? Or having that trust, that knowing that your teammate's going to come through and help you out, sort of thing. It feels far-fetched to kind of think the idea of Joe shooting out his eye, Captain Marvelous's eye, but it also has been 10 years. Things that clearly have gotten darker and grittier, and this Gokaiger team has definitely been pushed up against some shit over the years, right? So who knows what the relationships are certainly going to be like going into this particular movie, how personalities have changed. And I would be curious to see all the crap that they've been in, but who knows? Maybe somebody's mind control them. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that's not the case. L'Oreal, what's up, L'Oreal? She says, I'm so shocked that Toei has turned 70. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. What's your favorite creative work from them? Ooh. Jesus. Is there like a Wikipedia page? There is. I'm wondering what all have they done? Like, there's just so much. Released in 1954. Jesus. I mean, most of their stuff is probably Super Sentai, just based off what I know them as, is probably the stuff that gets me. I'm trying to see what else that they've worked on. Some animation films. Yeah, Power Ranger franchise, VR Troopers, Masked Rider, Dragon. Yeah, it's showing all some of their Toei produced and distributed shows. Yeah, I guess for me, again, even though they've been around for 70 years, I've mostly known them as Super Sentai, so that's probably its impact on me. Super Sentai and Power Rangers for that matter. But they definitely have a plethora of movies. I may not have watched many of them, though, looking at some of their names of what like their English film titles are and stuff. But yeah, probably for me, that's probably what it would be. Did you see Kamen versus Real Soldier yet? If so, would you think of it? I've not watched it yet. I've got two other movies that I have to watch. We posted up the Real Soldier Memory of Soulmates, the Nada adventure. We posted that review. We posted the Zenkaiger movie review, the Red Battle review. We did that. And our other two projects that we're going to be working on releasing for you guys is the Kamen, the Bebop movie. I think it's the other sister that they're facing off against. I want to do a review for that, and then Kamen versus Real Soldier. So we will be reviewing both of those for the channel. So look out for those sometime in the next week or two, but they are coming. Of all the themes Super Sentai and Kamen Rider had, what theme would you like to see? I still want anti-heroes, if that's not even a thing. I still want a group of villains or something that turns from bad to evil. Maybe some sort of anti-villain sort of theme. I really would like to go that route. I still want a sports route, a sports theme. If they can manage to do that, I would love sports. And I really would like to bring back the concept of martial arts. I kind of really love the Dire Ranger sort of Chinese martial arts styles. I really would love a more current martial arts theme, right? Maybe somebody with an MMA background, maybe somebody with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, some traditional stuff. The Ip Man, what is it? Hold on. Wing Chun, I thought would be really cool as a new, like, I think there are some really cool sort of martial arts themes that you can really decide to choose and go with if they wanted to. A Die Ranger, I think he was even a little bit inspired. Was a Yellow Ranger, I think, had a little bit of inspiration of like Drunken Master style. Heck, throw that in there for like old time's sake. I would be open for that. But those would probably be some of my three. Maybe an anti-hero. I did say a cyborg team at one point in time, but I feel like Zenkaiger kind of tapped into that with like its all robot Kikainoid thing. So yeah, I mean, sports, martial arts again, I would be there for, or like a anti-hero team. Adrian Peterson, what's up, Adrian? He says, "Hey Adam, it's been a while. How do you like Dino Fury so far? And has the show returned from hiatus, even though the show started transitioning to Netflix?" No, it has not fully come back from hiatus as of yet. We did get the 3 additional episodes in 9, 10, and 11 on Netflix. Still waiting a return date as of right now. We got Power Month next month. Maybe we'll get ourselves a return date there. Was August 28th, or that August, I think August 28th is supposed to be National Power Ranger Day. Maybe we'll get an announcement that day or something like that. But no, it has not returned yet. And I'm enjoying it. 11 episodes in, really solid, really enjoyable, some great characters. There's maybe 1 or 2 that I haven't been the biggest fan of in regards to episode wise, but I think they've been from either good to excellent for the most part in some of the episodes that we've gotten. So I like the trajectory that we've gotten. Still really early on in the season, but everything that we've seen so far, it feels as though they are definitely taking liberties, some chances with their writing. Doesn't feel as boring and stale as some of the previous Neo Saban work that we've seen them do before. So it definitely feels as though Hasbro is putting the right their best foot forward for this particular season so far. So I'm really enjoying it. Following Dino Fury, what do you want to see for the remainder of season 1, aside from Jordan Fight's debut as the Gold Ranger? I will say this. I don't necessarily know if this will happen in season 1, but one thing that keeps coming to mind for me, guys, is I kind of want to see Tyramigo from Real Soldier brought in. We kind of had the Buddy Roids or the Beast Bots in Beast Morphers a little bit. I don't know why I want to see like a Tyramigo introduced for like a season 2 as like a robotic partner, like a mini T-Rex form. Like I think that would be really cool to kind of see them highlight. Couple other things I really want to see how they introduce other Zords like Dime Volcano. Even the pterodactyl that they wind up having, the pterodactyl egg, that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to, and more in regards to Void Knight's history and past. I really would like to see, I don't know if we're going to get a flashback episode to learn a little bit more about Void Knight, but I would be interested to see like if this show will tackle the concept of a redeeming story or redemption story for Void Knight. Now knowing that he's not just a monster that wants to just destroy the Power Rangers to destroy them, but he has a motive and something that's driving him to go ahead and do that. I really would like to see how his story winds up unfolding. That's right. Adam did say the Dime Volcano. That's right. Awakened in episode 11. Hopefully they give the Dime Volcano a little bit more shine. I don't know how they would do that, but maybe they will. Maybe they will. Let's see here. Has there been any news on what Sentai series will be adapted after Dino Fury? And which season would you like to see adapted into Power Rangers for the 30th anniversary, if there is one? And do you think it can follow Dino Fury footsteps and be even better? Yeah, I do think it could follow in their footsteps and be even better. I think, this is... I feel like when it comes to Hasbro, I don't know how much creative oomph they had with Beast Morphers, since I think the season was kind of like thrown onto them. But you can clearly see some of the adjustments that Hasbro winds up making for Dino Fury. And I highly expect if we do get another Super Sentai season that's adapted into Power Rangers, I highly expect Hasbro to continue to make even more adjustments and do things maybe a little bit differently or unique and fresh. So no, there has been no news in regards to what's going to be adapted after Dino Fury outside of the Jonathan Entwistle stuff, where he's going to be rebooting, reimagining Power Rangers into a very connective, interconnected universe. Again, he's got the movie he's developing, the non-kid show, the animated show as well. They have hinted at the idea of a kid show still maybe taking place, whether or not that entails Sentai footage or some form of adaptation, or if because Jonathan Entwistle stuff is so interconnected, if it's all going to be original footage going forward. That I don't know. So they may take their own liberties in creating new themes for us, new costume designs and things like that have no connection to past Super Sentai series. So there's also that possibility that's out there in the world right now. But everything right now is just speculation as to whether or not we will get another Super Sentai adaptation. I'm not really thinking that we'll be leaning in that direction, but I could be wrong. If they do go the route of adapting, I'm leaning towards Q Ranger or a Kara Major adaptation. Smash Beast. What's up, Smash Beast? Appreciate you coming through. What would you like to see from the non-kid show? I would like to see a high school setting. Appreciate the question, Smash Beast. I think this might be our first question from you. So thank you very much for participating and sending in your question. I don't know. I can see the idea of a high school setting being this, being utilized that way. I hope it's not so much high school. Like if one of the characters are in high school, look, whatever they want to give to me, as long as it's unique and original, that's fine. But I feel like it's always everybody in high school. I would be cool with like 2 high schoolers, some teachers, maybe, right? Maybe like somebody's parents also. I would be completely okay with that if they switch it up a little bit. But if they still go the high schooler route, I'm okay. But as far as like the non-kid stuff, I would like longer form storytelling. I don't necessarily need each episode to conclude at the end. I don't need a Zord battle every episode either. I think pick and choose your places to have Zord battles. It's one of the aspects of the Voltron series on Netflix that I loved, that they focused really on the characters. Yeah, we do get cool costumes and fight sequences with our characters, but the idea of summoning Voltron every episode is not a thing. It happens when it absolutely needs to. And so I'm hoping that we go more along those routes. The idea of maybe 1, maybe 2 Megazord battles a season. Not to say that we can't see the Zords from time to time, but big fleshed out battles like that. I think you hold on to those for the importance of the moment. So I would longer form storytelling, 40-minute episodes, 45-minute episodes. Give me 10 to 15 episodes a season. I think for me, a lot of the changes I would like to see would be in the format of its storytelling. Is really how I would like to see them experiment with it a little bit more. Clearly civilian fights for sure. Keep the civilian fights from time to time. Keep the Mighty Morphin, not Mighty Morphin, but just the Power Ranger aspect of it still prevalent. You know what I mean? I would be cool with like still a mentor there to certainly guide them and things like that. So there are aspects of Power Rangers I certainly would like to stay true to, but the format of how it tells its stories, I'm completely open. And if anything, that's probably what I would want more out of the non-kid show than anything else. Some strong characters, and build up to a Megazord battle when it's there, and some really compelling villains. And I'm hoping villains that are maybe a mixture of alien and human, because I think having a humanoid villain does a really great job of expressing emotion and a connection with its audience. But maybe you can have some alien generals from time to time or pop up sort of thing. So yeah, there are a couple things that I definitely would love to see from the show, but I feel like most of my stuff is the format of how they tell their stories. Oh, maybe Nato. Were you the same person, Nato? You literally just asked the same question as Smash Beast. So I'm assuming that you're the same person, Nato, because what would you like to see from the non-kid show? I don't know if you literally wrote that sent me 2 emails to make sure I got it, but 1 email is fine. If that was you that sent it twice, 1 email is fine. I'll get to it. But other than that, guys, I think that's gonna do it. And if that's not you, Nato, then I just answered your question as well in regards to that. And then, you know, maybe a cameo from a past Ranger would be great. You know, I would like to see the lore still established. I don't necessarily want it to be just completely forgotten once you reboot, right? Like whether or not you have one, not even like, not necessarily if you have like one, you know, I'm cool with like one cameo to play a significant role for like season 1 or whatever the case may be. I would be cool with bringing back a past Power Ranger. But I don't necessarily need them in every episode that I get. You know, episode 1 could harken back to the idea of like what came before you to help lay the groundwork for where the rest of the series goes. If they go that route, I would love something like that also. Just never forget where you came from. You know what I mean? All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that does it for all of our questions in regards to that. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us here. I really appreciate it. Trent does say, do you think Blaze and Roxy were portrayed as weaklings in season 2? Actually, they both should have kicked the Rangers' asses and be more threats to them. What did you think of their fights? I love their fights. Yeah, season 2, very much weaklings. I think they shot themselves in the foot by making them cyborgs or copies of themselves. I think they were really mishandled in season 2. Season 1, they were fantastic. They stole the show. But yeah, season 2, they really mishandled. All right. And shout out to Neo the Fault for coming through. This is a joke, but what if they added Kamen Rider Black to fix the Masked Rider show in the reboot? You know, I will say, you know, they are going to be bringing back Kamen Rider Black for more non-adult, non-kid audiences. So I am eager to see how they pull it off. All right, guys. Other than that, I think that's going to do it for us. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us each and every week. I really do appreciate it. Sorry I took up so much of your guys' time. Today definitely was one of those days where a lot certainly had to be said. Next week's episode probably won't be as long, but we'll see what other news winds up dropping for us throughout the remainder of this weekend and next week for you guys. But don't forget, every Tuesday, we definitely have well, actually, is Zenkaiger going to be a brand new episode this week? I feel like they might be taking a little bit of a hiatus because of the Olympics. So if we don't have a new Zenkaiger episode this week, that's probably why, because the Olympics have officially kicked off over in Japan. But once we do have ourselves a Zenkaiger episode, we will be back to review that for you. If anything, maybe this will give us the opportunity to tackle those last 2 remaining movies that we want to. So regardless, we definitely will be having new content for you guys the remainder of this week. And we'll keep posted again in regards to the Kamen Rider Revice stuff in regards to what we decide to do here on the channel as to whether or not we're going to have Stuart do the reviews with a disclaimer in the beginning of all of our videos, or just maybe not tackle Kamen Rider Revice at all. Again, I'm not going to be talking about Revice here on APlus Morphinominal on Saturdays any longer, so this was the last time. But other than that, guys, I'm really eager for the future of Power Rangers and Tokusatsu in general, guys, and I think we all should be as well. But outside of that, thank you very much, guys, for certainly coming through. We will be back next Saturday going live at noon Central Time, so certainly go ahead and join us then. And until next time, I guess do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.